Hello, 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 welcome, 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 welcome. It is the Saturday. It is time for the Sidewinderings. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. I have made, as usual, I have made some adjustments to the audio and the video goodness. I discovered I kind of have a limiter set on my microphone, so hopefully my volume won't be as up and down from now on. It'll be fairly stable and I can talk a bit quieter. So do let me know if it sounds good and if it looks good. And when the game gets going, let me know if the game volume is too low or too high or whatever. And I can tweak it if I need be. But welcome, welcome, welcome to Sidewinder Saturdays. If you've not seen one of these before, as Sprue and Glue, who says in chat it's his first Sidewinder. If you've not seen one of these before, basically, I'm just playing some Elite Dangerous. And I figured, like I do with my Warhammer stuff, I may as well hang out with you guys while I'm doing it. Now, what we're doing is, this is Sidewinder Saturday, which means I am restricting myself to purely the starting Sidewinder ship that you start the game with. It's not brilliant at anything. It's not the best cargo hauler, it's not the best combat ship, it's not the best long distance exploration ship, it's kind of pants at everything. But it's kind of adorable, and I'm going to stick with it. And my plan is to play the game, get it upgraded and modded as much as possible, and then work my way up to, modding it as much as I can. I can't do all the mods on it with the engineers because some of them just aren't possible. But get it modded, get to the centre of the galaxy, get to the Sagittarius A star, and then also get 1 billion credits. Now, I'm already on 52 million credits, so I don't think the 1 billion credits is going to be a problem. But yeah, long journeys in this. It's got a tiny short jump range, it's got pants weapons, it's rubbish for cargo. Yeah, so that's the plan anyway. So what we're going to do is I'm going to be playing this for 3 hours or so. It's more just a chance for you guys to hang out and chat and have a good time, hang out with me, give me stuff to talk about while I'm playing. You're just keeping me company, and hopefully I'm keeping you company. Now, as always, it's one of my normal streams, so I do this for a living, so if you want to help support this channel, as always, don't forget you can do that through Patreon, you can do it through my Amazon store, or you can get your tabletop gaming stuff from Goblin Gaming. There are links in the description below the video for all that goodness, so if you want to help support this channel, use all those links in the description below. The one for Goblin means that if you go to them from that link, I get a little bit of commission. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And the important thing with the notification bell is to hover over it when you press it and make sure you choose the all option so you get all notifications. That way, you get notified when I upload any videos. See, I've trimmed that down now. It's a lot shorter now. Hopefully, I'll stick to that and it'll work. Yes. Anyway, welcome, welcome. I'll have a quick look through the chat and see who we've got so far, and then we'll crack on. I know what I do need to do very, very quickly, because I haven't put it in yet, is I do need to put in the viewer count, so I always have to reset this every time because it never sticks for some reason. So I can see how many of you lovelies there are out there. There we go, we'll just lock that off. There we go, lovely. Now I have made some slight changes to this, in that, if you remember the last two shows, it kind of crashed at about 3:30 each time. And I'm suspecting it was because of Windows update. So I have rebooted the PC before I went live, so turned it off, turned it on again, and I've also suspended updates in Windows. Hopefully, if that means we don't suddenly fall over at 3:30, then we're good to go. I think basically it was just running some scheduled automatic, like, antivirus checker type downloads and checks and stuff, and it was crashing the system out because the whole computer froze around about the same time each week, about 20 past 3, something like that. So hopefully that won't happen. If the stream does fall over, you know, if we're going along in the next 25-30 minutes and everything just stops and I stop talking and the image freezes, then all you need to do is, my apologies, I will shut down this computer and restart, but it'll start a whole new stream. So just go back to my homepage, or underneath the video where it's got Model Making Guru, just click on that, it'll take you to the YouTube homepage, and you'll see the new stream pop up. Keep refreshing it, and when I restart the stream, it will be a completely new stream, unfortunately. That's the way YouTube works. So anyway, yeah, hopefully that won't happen, but we'll see, we'll see. Anyway, Windows 10 shouldn't do that if you're in game mode, says Juggernaut. Brilliant. I don't know what game mode is. Yeah, fantastic. But I'm playing on Xbox. I'm not playing on computer, so it's just a kind of crossover. If you don't know how I'm streaming this, by the way, I'm playing it on Xbox One X. If you're interested in getting this game, it's the Xbox One X version. I'm using a T.Flight stick controller, hand on throttle and stick. It's unplayable without that. I'm streaming it to my computer, my PC, using the Xbox app on the PC, and then putting that into Streamlabs onto the YouTube. So if the computer falls over, that's why. It's not the game's crashed, it's the computer's crashed. But hopefully, as I say, it hopefully won't. But let's have a quick look at chat and see who we have in. We have, now I know there were some people in before Chris at Gross Models, but that's the first comment I've got. He says, I'm at work, so I'll try and pop in from time to time. If anything interesting happens, give me a shout. Welcome, Chris. Lynn Dipples pops in and says, have fun, she's going to miss another Sidewinder. What else is new? She works at weekends, so, but thanks for coming in, Liz. Liz? No, Lynn. Why did I say Liz? Wow, went on Coronation Street then. No, Jim, no. Sprue and Glue says it's going to be his first Sidewinder, so I hope you enjoy it. Welcome, welcome. Pascal, of course, is in. Pascal was probably here before everybody in the world. He says there'll always be a first time then. We have, I'm going to do it close to the microphone, but it might not work. Skullfish. I haven't got a button like Chris. And I can't get to the microphone to do the probing thing, so we might have to not do that. But welcome, Skullfish. Juggernaut, as we said, is in. He mentioned about Windows 10. Edward Ruiz is in. First Sidewinder. Hello all. Let's see what it is. Ruiz or Ruith. I don't know if you want to, how you pronounce that, but welcome, welcome. I'll say hello to people as they come in the chat as well. It usually picks up a few more people as we go along. What I'm doing is, if you remember, previously on Lost, Lost is the right word, I have my starter Sidewinder. I've done a bit of trading and stuff just to get up to about 50 million credits. You can see there at the top left I've got 56,140,933 credits. Yes. And I have made my way down to Maya, which is this system here, because I needed to get some meta alloys. I'm going to get the ship as upgraded as I can. And the first one I've got is Felicity Farseer, who can upgrade my frameshift drive so I can jump greater distances, because the Sidewinder does not have a great jump distance. At the moment, I've stripped a few things out and I've got to around about 19 to 20 light year jump distance with no engineering. So we'll see how much more we can get. So I know she's going to want, because I played this before, I know she's going to want me to get some meta alloys. So there's only one place in the entire Milky Way galaxy you can get meta alloys, and it's Maya. So I've come here and I've picked up some meta alloys. Now, if you remember last week, just before I went live on the show, like about a day before, Frontier decided that they would have an incursion of Thargoids in the Maya system. Fantastic. The one place I can go to get meta alloys, and the Thargoids turned up. I am in a Sidewinder. I've got pants shields. I've got useless weapons. If they take me on, I'm screwed. I can't fight them back, and which they didn't do on the way down. So I was a bit, you know, squeaky bum time on the way down, but they didn't hyperdick me or anything. Got to Maya. I've got my meta alloys, but I know from experience if I've got meta alloys in my cargo hold, I'm going to be more interesting to the Thargoids. So I thought to myself, what I'll do is I'll plan a quick route out of the Maya system, and I'll try and avoid any systems where there's lots of Thargoids. So I'll move up here like this. So I'll jump out to the side here, because there's Maya, that little blue dot. I'll move out to the side, and then we'll head back up to where Felicity Farseer is. We should be golden. Should be golden. And then I zoomed the map out about 10 minutes ago. And these little orange symbols here, by the way, these are, because the Thargoids attack, these are stations that are under repair. And this is what it looked like last week. So I planned this route, and then I thought, right, now I need to just make sure how far I am from, say, Felicity Farseer in Desiat. And then I zoomed the map out. Oh, what? Yeah, I had a bit of a moment. This wasn't here last week. It looks like the Thargoids have attacked everything. Just trillions of systems in the bubble. Thargoids have been in the bubble, and yeah, now there's two places I need to go. I need to go to Leuchten Star. Here, you can see there, because I need to... I started working to get my Sirius permit to get to the Sirius system, and I'm almost done, so I figure if I get back to there first, I can cache in my astronomical data and it'll unlock it for me. And then I need to head over here to Desiat, or Dekiat, to Felicity Farseer, to get my engineering done. But I've got all these systems. So all these systems have space stations under repair, which means they've all been attacked by Thargoids. And those are just the ones with space stations under repair. So I don't know what other systems are in there that might be, having problems with Thargoids. So I've got this cargo that Thargoids they're going to want to pull me up over it because they love it. You carry in anything that's of interest to them, they'll attack you. So this is going to be... I thought it'd be a nice peaceful journey today. No, it won't be a nice peaceful journey because I'm going to have Thargoids everywhere. So let's crack on. So basically I've set a little route now to go from Maya across to HIP 19358, and from thence, just to get me out of that area, and then from thence back up. We'll set a course back up to Leutenstadt and then to Desiat. So we'll crack on. So let's crack on. I'll show you the ship if you haven't seen it before. We are in my starting. It still is the starting one. It's not blown up yet. My starting Sidewinder, which, if I can remember the camera control, is why is this? There we go. I've lost signal. I'm right next to it, you spoon. There we go. It is the Squishywidge. My lovely. Oh, no. My lovely starting Sidewinder. You may notice I've changed the paint job. I got bored with the last one and changed. This is one of the cheap ones. I quite like this. It's orange and white, very foxy colours. So there we go. So yeah, Squishywidge, that's the ship. And of course, your pilot today is Bevan from that there 1970s group ELO. I've decided that's who he is. He's Bevan from that 1970s group ELO. So there you go. That's your pilot today. Anyway, let's crack on with the go back. We have a thing. Edward Ruiz says, Zorro before I was Macratista 16. Awesome. Oh, your previous name. Cool. Juggernaut says, do those Thargoids show up in both open and solo play? Yes, they are the enemies in the game. The way this game works is you have the Milky Way galaxy. It's what's called the background simulation. That's all the planets and stars and stations and non-player characters are in a simulation, and that's the background simulation, and that's the same whether you're in open or solo. So if I discover a planet that nobody's seen before and I map it and I get that cached in at a space station, that then has a discovered by and mapped by and has my name on it, and everybody will see that, whether they're solo or open play. So the background simulation, the Milky Way in the background, that's everybody gets that. That's why this is an online only game. It's because you have to be online to access the background simulation. The only difference with solo and open is that if I'm playing in solo, I don't see anybody else, any other real people. It's all NPCs. If I play in a private group, it'll be me and a few people that I've chosen to play with. And open is anybody. It's just anybody in the world can come along and shoot you out of the sky, basically. I never play open because it's a nightmare. Right, Zorro is Spanish for fox. Yes, I knew that. I actually knew that. I knew that was Spanish for fox. Right, so yes, we'll crack on. One last thing very quickly. Of course, in the top left corner, you'll see up there, I forgot to mention this, we are, as always, doing our stream boss battle. George Gabriel is the current stream boss. You can see up there in the top left. His health is slowly coming down. Basically, it's a chance for you guys as a community to come together and build up a massive pot of cash that can then be spent at Games Workshop or Forge World, or if you're in the EU, Goblin Gaming, to buy Warhammer goodness. All you do is, if you want to knock some of his health off, you want to get him off the throne, you need to knock his health down, and whoever gets him to 0 health becomes the new stream boss and inherits that pot of money. And the way to get his health down is to do a tip through the tip jar. You can see the address at the bottom left corner of the screen there. Tip jar is streamlabs.com/model making guru. Every time you put a tip in, it takes some of George's health off. The more you put through as a tip, the more of his health comes off, and whoever gets him to 0 wins all the money in that pot. I don't make any money off that. I earn income through things like super chats, which you can do if you want to get my attention in chat, but I don't make any money off the tip jar. That purely goes towards the pot that one of you guys will then win. So get doing your tips and all that through the tip jar. And again, super chat, if you want to get my attention in chat, you can do. I'll do my best to join in with you in the chat. But if you want to catch my attention, do a super chat. That's just the dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. That puts your comment in a big coloured box that I can't miss. And it also helps support this channel. So let's crack on. So we've got let's have a look. We've got our cargo. Check all my modules are full health. Yes. I've got my cargo, which is meta alloys. These are the things that Felicity Farsi. Meta alloys are associated with alien entities nicknamed large barnacles. They are cellular in nature and formed organically. They cannot be manufactured and are only found in space. It is ultralight and stronger and more versatile than most commercially available alloys, which is why Thargoids like them, because they own that's where the barnacles come from. Anyway, let's go. We've got a bit of a journey. We've got 5 jumps to that little offshoot system. You can see there to the HIP 19358. Now do let me know as we get going whether the volume for the gameplay is too loud or too quiet for you. I don't know, I've got the volume turned down quite a lot, so... Ooh. So do let me know. I have to kind of carefully balance my volume and your volume, so, and microphone volume and stuff like that, so it's quite challenging sometimes. Right, let's crack on. Oops. I need to unassociate that. Where's my next system? To unlock that. We'll just get off this planet. Dave Barker is in and says it's pronounced the tip jar jar. Oh, tip jar jar. Shut up, David. Banned. Just don't make me ban you. No such character exists, and no such movie was ever made. You should know this by now. So we'll just get off this planet. We'll head up to the next system. Just get myself out of the, out of the atmosphere then, but of course there is no atmosphere. How are we doing for audio, chaps? It's sounding good? I'm not too loud or anything. The game's not too quiet. The game's not particularly noisy. Oh, hello, who turned the lights on? That was suddenly bright. We've got a big bright star around here somewhere. Oh yeah, big... I'm going to guess that's a white dwarf. Binary white dwarf, I think. Hence my blue light. Somebody turned the star on then. Right, let's crack on, shall we? Where's this other place? Let's blow this snowball. Ice cube. Wrong phrase. Now, I did do some tweaks to the ship when I landed at Danielle's Hope, where we've just taken off from. I did remove, because I need to keep the weight down, I kept my planetary vehicle. I think I've still got that, or maybe I haven't actually. I think I took that out. I replaced that with a cargo rack to carry the meta alloys that I've got, because this doesn't have a built-in cargo rack. And I want, obviously, my big thing here. I've got the wrong weapon going. The big thing for me here is doing big jumps as big as I can to get me out of Thargoid space as quickly as possible, and back to the engineer as quickly as possible. So I took out my SRV bay from my little vehicle, and I took out my weapons to get the weight down, because the crushing reality here is that we got a nav beacon. We got a nav beacon. No. Oh, one other thing I'm using, and I forgot to show it. One other thing I am using, which I will just refresh, is I am using the EDSM website, which will show me if there's any scannable Earth-likes or water worlds or any terraformable planets that's worth me probing and scanning. Although I'm not doing much exploration right at the moment because my mission is to get the ship upgraded, I'm going to continue to try and make some money through exploration. So you will see me pop that up every now and then, just as I crack on and do me checks and tests. Doesn't seem to be anything in this system, so let's have a look at the FSS and see what we've got. We have, well, we do have a water world, which is already scanned apparently, so it must be near the star. We've got a water world, so that's all we've actually got. Let's have a look and find that, because I'll scan that and I'll probe that, because although I'm in a desperate rush to get away from the Thargoids, I'm not going to turn down a cash money scenario. That's not it. It's going to be right behind this star, isn't it? Guaranteed. Oh, it's there. There it is. So we have a water world. We'll give that a sniff. Give that a sniff and get some points for that. If you've not played this before, basically probing and mapping planets, you can cash all that information in when you get to a space station, and it's a good way. That's how I've earned most of my money, my 52 million credits, just by scanning planets and stuff. So yes, anyway, I've taken out the SRV bay because I don't plan on doing any planetary landings on the way back to the engineer. and I've taken out the weapons because, let's be honest, the weapons on this ship, if I do get interdicted or hyperdicted by a Thargoid, the shields and weapons, they're going to do me no favours whatsoever. I'm not going to be able to take on a Thargoid ship with a fluffy little laser and a fluffy little rail gun. It's not a, Gatling gun. It's not going to make a difference. There's no point in me carrying that weight for weapons that I'm not going to be able to use to any benefit. So I took them out to reduce my weight. Yeah, so we'll see what this planet's all about. So anyway, how are you all? I hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good week. I've had not a bad week. Not a bad week at all. I filmed, if you didn't see it, I did put a video up for the latest Warhammer Conquest. It's the next 8 issues. Just a quick look showing what you get in the magazines. It does seem, because I got the latest War Gear pack, it does seem that I am missing the box that comes, the storage box that you get with each of the War Gear packs. I seem to have somehow missed that. So I have contacted Hachette to tell them I haven't got it. I mean, it doesn't really matter because I'm not going to use them anyway. I actually find if you've got the War Gear, if you are doing the Hachette, the Warhammer Conquest part work, and you get the pizza box that the War Gear sets come in, I actually think the pizza box is a much better storage solution because it's smaller and more rigid. The nice box with artwork on it, it's just kind of like a display box. It's just, you're not going to put your miniatures in it. Have I already mapped this? Hang on a minute. I think I've already mapped this. You have mapped this planet. Oh, you spoon. I forgot to check that, didn't I? Oh well, I've been here before. Let's just go, shall we? Let's just blow this ice cube. You're an idiot fox. You are an idiot fox. What other kind of fox is there apart from idiot fox? I don't know. I assume I won't read. Okay, here's the thing with my streams. You can say rude words in chat. You're more than welcome to do swearing and everything in chat. I don't care. But I'm not going to read rude words out, even mildly rude ones, because that's monetization. But Juggernaut asks about the registry on the side of my ship. I assume it's not standard customization. No, you can. Next time I get to a space station, I'll show you. But you can set up. You can customise your ship registry number and your ship name. Oh, we're getting some horrible frame lag there. Did you see all that little hitching then? We had an update in January, some bug fixes and stuff, and there has been some hitching and frame rate issues since then. As it's loading things in, so yeah, a bit rough. Yes, you can customise the nameplates and everything else. So if I get away from this sun, let's have a look. Where's my outdoor view? There you go. So you can see there, if I go to the side a bit. Get rid of that. Got to remember all the camera controls now. So there, I've customised the. You basically have to. Well, here's the thing: you have to pay for these. You have to buy ARC. You have to use ARCs, the in-game currency, and you earn them through doing stuff. But you can also buy them with real cash money. AR5E is my ship registry. Yeah, you read it as you see it. And Squishywidge, of course, is the ship name. But they're all just custom added. I've added those in. But yeah, you have to pay for them. What am I doing? Oh yes. In the old days when you used to play this game, there was always a store with paid for cosmetic stuff. Okay, there's gas giants and nothing else of any interest. I'll just double check none of these are terraformable if it's updated. Oh hello, oh hello. Let me have a look at these beautiful green things. What are these? We have where are we? Which system are we in? HIP 18502. So that last hang on, let me refresh that. That was the last system we were in, and it had 3 in there, but I've already scanned them. So yeah, so we did our business in that last system. So it's not updated yet. I'll come back to that in a second. I was talking about, yeah, when I first got this game, there was lots and lots of everything in the store was kind of cosmetic, like ship skins and custom decals and stuff like that. But for a lot of them, you had to pay real money to get Frontier points. But some of them were just free. They had a small selection of freebies. But they brought in the new currency ARX, and since they brought that in, there's almost nothing now free. There's almost no free skins or anything like that that you don't have to spend the in-game currency on arcs. And although you can earn arcs in-game, it's a very, very slow process. You know, you earn, like, you've got a maximum of 400 arcs, I think, a week, and a lot of the paint jobs are like 1800 arcs. So they kind of price it so that you can get some, but they're all the kind of crappy ones. If you want the real decent decals paint jobs, you have to pay more. You have to pay real world money and buy the arcs to then spend. It's typical in-game monetization. Now, it's all cosmetic, so yeah, give them points for that. But I thought, I'm going to have to... In the old days, you would at least have got a couple of decals free, not even costing in-game currency. Look at that frame hitching there is horrible. Not even costing in-game currency to at least put your ship name and ship registry on the ship that you were flying around in. But you don't even get that anymore. So I had to spend money to get Squishywidge and the registry number. I've spent money for your benefit. So there you go. I've spent real world money on you guys. Because it's nice to have the name of the ship and the thing on the side. It's kind of required. Juggernaut says Christmas lights. Yeah, I had the Christmas lights in my last ship. That was because they were in the days when they were not free, but they weren't that expensive. I haven't got enough. I've only got about 1500 arcs at the minute, I think. So I haven't got any Christmas lights on the dashboard. Oh, what's this? Gas giant, boring. Gas giants, rocky bodies, nothing of any great interest. That will be Thargoids, probably. Let's have a look. Yeah, non-human signal source, threat level, massive. So there are Thargoids in this system. Let's get out of here. So yeah, I got bored of the colour scheme that I had originally, so I just changed it up. I spent like 300 arcs that I already had left over in my balance on some bits. You spend money so we don't have to, says Skullfish. Yes. How's the balance between me talking and game audio, by the way? Is it all good? I'm not too loud, too quiet. The level meter for my microphone has crapped out, so I don't know if I'm too loud or too quiet right now, so do let me know. Yeah, quite a few frame hitches going on here because of the update. It's not game breaking, it's just kind of annoying. Now, I was a little cautious today about today's show because of what happened to Chris over at Gross Models. You may know that Chris also plays the Elites, and we got the January update, and he played Elite for a little bit, and then it fell over, and he couldn't reboot it. He couldn't turn his Xbox back on. His Xbox just would not restart. Nothing in that system worth looking at. His Xbox just would not restart. It said there was a corrupt file and stuff, and he couldn't get it to load, and he had to fiddle around with it and do lots of fiddling and booting from a thumb drive, I think, and all this kind of stuff, re-uploading stuff, and he got it to work in the end. And he at first he kind of thought to himself, is this something from the January Elite update? Has it bricked my console? And he's not really sure what caused it, although at the moment he thinks it might be something to do with the HOTAS stick, because it seems to not be a problem when it's not plugged in. So he was like very worried about starting Elite Dangerous again in case it was the software that hurt his console. So when I got up this morning, it was like, I don't want to hurt my console, because if it does, I can't afford to buy a new one if this thing breaks. Excuse me. And I don't want the game to, break my console. So very tentatively and cautiously this morning, I turned on the Xbox just to make sure I could load the game and everything still worked, and thankfully it did. So it looks like whatever problem Chris was having might be specific to his console, or like he thinks, maybe something to do with the HOTAS controller, a glitch or something somewhere. But who can say? But thankfully it doesn't seem to be the software. Right, so this is... We've got some high metal content, so they're potentially terraformable. Let's have a look and see what the good doctor has in his magic bag. Is it even up to date? Powell5995 subscribed about an hour ago. Thank you very much, Powell5995. Got 10 seconds to wait for that to update. It should hopefully update. What will it say? Will it say we've got any greens worth scanning? Let's have a look. 3, 2, 1. Let's see what it says. No. No, there's probably nothing in this system worth looking at then. That's fine. If you're wondering what that is, it is just... if you do a Google search for EDSM, Echo Delta Sierra Mike, or Elite EDSM, Elite Dangerous Star Map, it's basically just a system where it polls the game live and gets the data as you're playing. Now on computer, it's all completely live. What am I doing here? It's all completely live because you can download on PC. You can download your, your logbook and stuff. On consoles, it's a bit more fiddly. It has to update it every 2 minutes just to get the information through Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, whatever it's called. So it's a bit of a clunky workaround, but it works. Right, so we got to where we were going to. We got there. We didn't get interdicted or hyperdicted. Whew. Although I think still, let's have a look. I think we're still getting. Let's have a look. These are still going to be Thargoid signals, aren't they? I think basically Thargoids are everywhere. That's not what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at here. Let's find these singles. It's moved. Yeah, basically Thargoids have appeared everywhere. If you're not familiar with this game at all, Thargoids have appeared here and there in a few systems here and there and caused trouble. And had some like community missions around them, but I don't remember seeing it like this bad where they're everywhere. So because they kind of went away for a bit and now they've come back, so it's like, oh, right when I'm doing this live stream in a ship that can't survive anything that Thargoids are going to throw at it, I get Thargoids. I've come down with a case of the Thargoids. It's not right. Right. So what we want to do is plot a route. Now I want to go to Leuten's. I need to go here to Deciat or Deciat. That's where Felicity Farseer is. But what I need to do first is see if I can plot a route to Leuten's star, because I want to get access to the Sirius system. Some systems are locked behind various things and you have to do various grinds to unlock them. So I can't get that to become a clickable system. Why not? There we go. See, Sirius is there, and it's the Sirius company that give you a permit to to the Sirius star. Because some systems and places are locked behind, they're locked out. You need a permit to get in there. And I've spent a long time working up to get the permit, so I figured I may as well get this cashed in first. So we'll set a route for there. If you haven't played this again, bit of information for you. If you haven't played this before, if you haven't watched one of these before, this game takes place in a 1-to-1 scale recreation of the entire Milky Way. Quite literally, the entire Milky Way. Every star a nebula and planetary body that we know about in real life is in this map. What it is, it's 99.9999999% procedurally generated, but before they did that, they added in all the actual stars and planets that do exist that we actually know about. And in this galaxy, there are simulated around about 400 billion stars, and around the vast majority of those are planets, stars, rocky bodies, icy bodies, all kinds of goodness, black holes, all kinds of things. So each one of these dots is a star, and at any time I can go to any one of these stars and see what's there. So, and the only reason you're seeing a little circle of stars there and not endless stars is because the Xbox can't quite render all of it. On PC you might get a lot more stars visible, but if I was to move up and down, you can see there that little circle of stars moves with me. So 400 billion stars, all of which, and but my goal is, once I've got my ship engineered up, because we're all the way down here, don't forget, where are we? We are, I've rotated, haven't I? We're over there. Once I've got my ship all engineered up, we're over here, I'll then make my way all the way over to Sagittarius A star, which is the black hole at the centre of the Milky Way galaxy. And then once we've done that, we'll just explore. We'll head back to civilized space, get all the stuff cached in, and then go on more explorations. And the challenge is, doing it in a Sidewinder, the Sidewinder's only got a jump range of maybe maximum about 25, 26 light years. And really, every other ship can do 30, 35, 40 light years, which is what you need. So right now it's not a problem, but when I get to areas like here, where stars are like more sparse, these like between the arms of the galaxy, it gets harder to do jumps because there's more space between stars. So we might have some challenges ahead. If I came out this way, I'd end up like not being able to go anywhere. Anyway, let's crack on. So I've set that route. We have 23 jumps. That's not bad. I've set my ship for... I've set the jump route for fastest route. You can do it for economical, where it will do a maximum of 1,000 light years in any direction, and it will do the shortest possible jumps to make your fuel last as long as possible. But I've chosen for fastest routes because I don't want to do 75 jumps to get anywhere. I want to do less. So let's crack on and see how we get on. So hopefully these will all be systems that are new to me, and I can probe and scan and to my heart's delight. Let's try and see if we get battered by nasty aliens. Hopefully not. Sweet. I've also got my enormous cup of tea as well. As always, enormous cup of tea to keep you going. So yes, hope you've all had a good week. My week so far. As you saw the other day, I put up video of the next 8 issues of Warhammer Conquest. So they are up and in the bag, ready for painting, well down the line and assembly. I've also got the next, I think 4 issues of the Xbox part work from D'Agostini. So I need to film those. I was hoping to do that yesterday, but I didn't get a chance. But the frame rate's really chugging here. Ooh. Yeah, they need to sort this out. Oh, look at that frame rate. Oh, that's not because I'm streaming and it's not your end. It's the game. Since they did the update, it's killed the frame rate in some places. They made some changes to how it does various things in the simulation when you're flying along, and I think they've made it's gone a bit wrong, so they'll be fixing that fairly soon, I think. So we've got here, we've got gas giants here, some icy bodies, some rocky bodies. They might be worth a sniff. Let's have a quick look and see anything on the magic screen. Let's see what the good doctor has, and I need to refresh that. For some reason, the EDSM star map, every now and then, you can see at the time here, the top right, 26 minutes minor. It kind of resets itself from every 2 minutes to like every 3.5 hours, and it's very weird the way it does that. I don't know why it does that. So, anyway, let's just not worry about that. We'll click off this system, and we'll go on to the next one. There might be something there worth playing with, but I don't want to sit there for 2 minutes and wait for the thing to update, because it's not interesting for you guys. The Orc Boys is in. Good afternoon, says the Orc Boys. Welcome, fella. Welcome. Yeah, so good week. I'd say got that video up. I've got to film the X-Wing one, which I'll see if I can get done on Monday. I'll see if I can get that filmed on Monday for you. See how that goes. It's a busy day on Monday, of course, because I've got the email stream in the evening, so might have got Monday. That will go up. The Warhammer one, the Conquest one, it obviously went up straight away for everybody because they just got straight away. Wow, look at that frame rate. Oh, it's horrible. Oh. The X-Wing one will be early access for patrons for a week and then open to everybody else afterwards. So keep your eyes open for that when that goes up. What else has been up this week? Not really much more to report. Been continuing to work away on George's Sazabi. That's about it really for this week. Nothing really major to go over. Give it a second. We'll see what's in this system. We have gas giants, icy bodies, asteroid clusters. Yeah, we'll just move on. We'll move on. No, I don't want to do that. I think in the interests of time, for most systems, we'll just have a quick look and see if there's any water worlds and Earth likes. We'll not worry too much if there's any terraformables, because by the time this thing updates, we'll have moved on to the next system anyway. So not the end of the world. We'll worry about that more when we do the proper exploration later on. For now, I need to do some engineering. I need to get out of space with my Thargoid meta alloys. Because right now I'm basically made of target. Oh, look at the frame rate. Oh, horrible. Frontier, sort your stuff out. Oh. You can see the way the sun's kind of glitching as well. They'll fix it. It's probably some tweaks. Every time you do an update, you probably break something. I'm no game designer, but I'm fairly certain that every time you update something, there's always something that gets a bit jonked. I'm sure they'll fix it. I'm sure it's not going to be long before they fix it. Let's have a look. Get away from this star and we'll have a look and see what we've got here. Anything interesting? Rocky bodies, icy bodies. That's the star. That's a gas giant. Yeah, nothing there. Next. Frameshift drive charging. So yeah, so what have you guys been up to this week, guys and girls? What have you been doing? What's been on your calendars so far this week? And of course, alongside asking what you've been up to, the most important question ever asked, ever, bench and belly. What's on your bench? What are you working on at the minute, model-wise, or any kind of creative type stuff? Could be drawing or anything really. What are you working on right now? And what's in your belly? What are you having for your dinner, or what have you had for your dinner? What are the food plans? But generally, just tell me how your week's been, what you've been up to, what you've been doing. Scooping the fuel. Now, a lot of people do make mark point of the fact that the Sidewinder does have a teeny tiny fuel tank. Only carries, I think, 2 tons of fuel. And that jerky frame rate is really killing me. Only carries, I think, 2 tons of fuel. So you only get a small number of jumps between having to refuel. However, I don't find this as a problem, because it's not like I can do big long jumps anyway. Oh, that's gonna be it's right on the cusp of Earth-like and rocky ice world, but I think it's gonna be a rocky world. We'll find out. We'll do a quick scan and see what we've got. Yeah, so it's got a tiny little fuel tank, and people say, yeah, but you'll run out of fuel dead easily. However, force of habit for me is that I always scoop. Every single time. That's a rocky ice world. There you go. So not of any interest. Boring. I always scoop whenever I get to, because it takes you literally a few seconds. So it's not a problem for me. So if you look at the map here, we're going here, and the next jump theoretically, it's saying, okay, you're here. You're going to go to this star. You've got the solid orange line. You're going to go to this star here, which is, what's that one? Aries Dark Region IMV C29. Then you can jump to the next one, which is here, which is Aries Dark Sector, blah, blah, blah. And it says here is a fuel store. What it's saying basically is you must refuel here, because you won't have enough fuel, this orange dotted line, you won't have enough fuel to get to the next one. So it's saying I must refuel after the next jump. But it's not a problem for me, because I'll jump to here and refuel. I'll jump to here and refuel. I'll jump to here and refuel. I've also set my filters so that if you look here, down the side, O, B, A, F, G, K and M These are all types of stars that I can scoop fuel from. You'll hear it saying fuel scooping. The trick is to remember KGB foam. KGB foam. F-O-A-M. KGB foam, they are all stars that you can scoop at. I've unfiltered L, T and Y types because you can't get fuel from them. And if I jump to 3 T-type stars in a row, I've run out of fuel. I'm screwed. I can't go anywhere. Protest stars you can't scoop from. You can't scoop from Wolf Rayet stars, but they're so incredibly rare that if I find one, it's going to be one, not a load of them. And I want to find them. And also non-sequence stars, that's neutron stars and black holes. You can't scoop from them either. But again, you tend to find them as one-offs. You don't find like 6 in a row. But if I went to 6 Y-type stars in a row, I couldn't even do 2 in a row. If I got stuck in a field of Y-type stars, I'd be like, I've got 1 jump left of fuel and I can't go to anything that can scoop. I'd be screwed. I'd have to call the fuel rats and I'd still be screwed. So I just unfilter anything on my route planet. It just ignores anything that I can't scoop. So normally I wouldn't be so boring to just jump to scoopable stars. But when it's a Sidewinder and I've got a little tiny 2-ton fuel tank and I can do like 2 jumps, yeah, I'm going to play safe. I'm going to make sure I can scoop everything. It does mean that we're not going to get some of the most interesting stars as we go along our explorations. And as we get to more denser parts of the galaxy, I might restrict it down even more to get less red dwarfs, which are really boring, and just focus on planets where I might get Earth-likes and water worlds, which are like O-types and I think G-types. But as long as I can scoop, that's all that matters. Although I have to say, it would be fun. It will be fun if at some point I do get so low on fuel that I have to call the fuel rats, because that would be... I've never called the fuel rats. I've never had to call them, but it would be awesome. If you don't know, the fuel rats is basically a player... It's a player faction. And it's completely just... They just completely organise themselves to the point where now it's actually an in-game lore. The developers made it part of the in-game lore. There's a group called the Fuel Rats, and what they do is basically, if you get somewhere and you haven't got enough fuel to jump to the next star, you go to their website, and on the website there's a big red button that says, help, I'm a bit screwed, and they get all your information, they find out where you are, and then someone will come to you in the game. They will come to where you are with fuel, give you fuel, and send you on your way. And it's all, they don't ask anything for it, they just do it for the fun of it. And they're called the Fuel Rats, and it's so well known that the developers actually made it part of the game. When you go to space stations, you'll see adverts for Fuel Rats. That's weird, there's nothing in this system but signal sources. Are these Thargoids? And their motto, the Fuel Rats motto, is just the best, most succinct ever. It's, we've got fuel, you don't. Any questions? That's it. That's their entire motto. Degraded emissions, safe. Okay, well these are threat level 0. It looks like we're out of the Thargoid infested systems. We've got 2 signals. I might give one of these a go. I might give one of these a tickle. I think they'll be worth a tickle because I need to pick up stuff anyway while I'm going along. So you know what, why don't we go and have a look at these? The threat 0, which means there's nobody there that's going to harm me, hopefully. We'll have a look and see. Because what I'll do is when you get to these things, what you pick up useful... I'm going to overshoot that. That was a lot closer than I thought it was. Oh, Chris, I did the loop of shame. I'll need to go to engineers, and sometimes they'll ask for things like materials and scans and stuff that if I can collect them all now, it saves me a lot of time. So some of the things I can collect from here are useful materials for me to either make things like ammunition for my weapons if I have them, or fuel for my SRVs, or they're also things that engineers can use. So I may as well do a little bit of scanny and picking stuff up while I'm here. May as well. David Butch, that model, says, hang on, let me land here first. Hang on. He says, well, that was a new personal best. 4 minutes from getting home from work to Shiu farts in bed saying to go to your man cave. Wow. That doesn't sound like you're complaining there, Dave. Let's see what we've got here. We have chemical processors. There's an Asp Explorer here. I want to see what this is first. Is this search and rescue? Hopefully it is. Oh, phew. Search and rescue, which means he's not going to attack me. You have to be careful, because sometimes you come to like wreckage like this and it's pirates, and then you're really screwed. But it did say threat level 0. So these are all good things that I can use to... Oh, that's all the wrong buttons. These are all things that I can use for engineers. Oh, hello, big piece of ship wreckage. And it's kind of handy to have shields. So what I need to do is get the debris lined up in that little blue animated box you can see at the bottom left there. That's my cargo scoop cam. There we go, make sure that's the middle. Where's the next one? Okay, so these are all useful materials, like worn shield emitters, engineers. There'll be an engineer who can work on shields, who can improve your shields, and that person may ask me to find them 50 worn shield emitters. It's just fetch quest stuff, typical RPG fetch quest stuff. So it's kind of handy if I've already got them, rather than going, oh hang on, I need to go and find all these now, don't I? Ugh. So if I turn up there, hi, I need 20 worn shield emitters, and I'm like, I've already got them, there you go. Makes life a lot easier. So I may as well spend some time now, while I've got you guys for company. Spend some time now. That's going to be, let's just go backwards, hang on. There we go. There it is. Pick these up. Same when we go to civilized inhabited systems. I can like scan some ships at nav beacons just for the wake data that I'll need later on. Next one. I shall have a look. Candy Grab from Mongo is in, as is Edward Leonard. Welcome to both of you. I'll have a quick look at the chat in a second. When I'm not scooping, I'm poopy scooping. Well, I'm not. Well, I'm technically poopy scooping, aren't I? I'm not fuel scooping, pooping scooping, because it's things that ships have pooped out. Well, I mean, they were blowing up when they pooped it out. It wasn't like they pooped it out. They were kind of blowing up into smithereens. So I'm more like, I'm sucking up, it's smithereen sucking rather than poop scooping, but let's just call it pooper scooping. I'm cleaning this town up. There's one. Alright. Eon's Car's in as well. Welcome, Eon's Car. He says, yo, hello all, and what have I missed? I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you the map in a minute, because you remember how last week there was a couple of Thargoids sitting around and I wanted to avoid them. There was a couple of, you know, a handful of Thargoids here and there, and it was like, let's try and avoid them. Yeah, it's kind of changed. There's been some developments. Why is that not showing up on my... There it is. There's been some developments. I've got my meta alloys that I picked up last week, and I'm heading back to the engineer now to cash those in and get some engineer goodness. Oh, I missed that. Oh, I missed it. Cash those in and get some engineering goodness on my frameshift drive. But I'll show you something in a minute. Because yeah, Frontier developers, the developers Frontier have not done me any favours. Right at the time I decided to fly around in a tiny, harmless ship. I don't want to do that. No, I want to... I don't even know what the next star jump is. There it is. Get back up to Super Cruise. Do 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 do. So yes, so Eon's Car. That's, if you remember last week, previously in house, we were here, where there were a handful of these slightly damaged space stations. Just a handful. Now we're heading back here, and yeah, all these space stations have been attacked by Thargoids. This wasn't there last week, and now it's like, oh yeah, oh no, So we're heading back to Leutenstar to cache in star data, and then we're going to head to Desiat to get the engineering done. Is there anything in this system? I can't remember now. I've forgotten already. No, there's nothing here. Any interest whatsoever. Okay, fine. Let's crack on then. To the next system. Of course, heading back to Leutenstar, and we're only doing 20 jumps. So I might not have that much stuff to cache in. We'll see when we get there. It might not help me at all. I don't know yet. We'll have a quick look at chat when I get to this system and scoop. Do some poop and scooping. Always be scooping. Always be scooping. Jumpy, jumpy. Oh. I can't remember if I cached in the astronomical data when we landed at Maya. Whoa! No, don't want that. That's somebody talking to me. I knew I'd find you eventually, all that tasty cargo. No. No. Don't want pirates right now. I've got no weapons. It's not happening. Especially not while I'm scooping. Let's just blow this ice cube. Oh, sugar! Oh! Right, this shouldn't be too hard, but he's trying to interdict me, as in pull me into normal space. If he pulls me out, I'm screwed because I can't defend myself. And I'm destroyed, and I have to go all the way back and get more meta alloys. I've not had this ship destroyed yet. I've got to stay lined up with the escape vector. If I can, I'm the blue bar on the left. If I can stay lined up, I win. Yes! Chew on that, monkey fluffer. Oh, that was fun. Where's that star? Let's just get to the next star. I'm carrying cargo, and it makes me a target for pirates as well. Not just that wasn't a Thargoid, that was a pirate. And basically, I'm in Super Cruise now, and what he was trying to do was interdict me, pull me out of Super Cruise, so that he can then attack me and take my cargo. But in the reality, what I'd have to do is either dump my cargo and hope he doesn't keep attacking me, and he might let me live, or he might just destroy me anyway. But I've got no weapons, so I can't defend myself. I've got poxy shields, and I don't want to have to go back and get more meta alloys. So, I just have to hope now. He's going to follow me. He's going to continue to follow me, I reckon, because they tend to do that. But because I've got cargo, I'm a target for pirates. So I have to really hope that I do not get successfully interdicted. It's going to make this interesting. It's not just Thargoids I have to worry about. It's quite exciting in a way. But you have to keep your eye on that little notification panel in the top left, because it can be that there are dudes out there that want to rip you into pieces. I'm going to very quickly check this. I can't afford to be not looking out the window very long. No. Move on to the next one. Yeah, is the next star. I might not be cashing much in. There's another ship in this system. I can see it on my radar at the bottom there. That little yellow. Oh no, it's a star. I'm safe. Woo! Stressful. It's not just Thargoids I've got to be worried about. It's not just Thargoids and a choppy frame rate. Thanks, developers. It's pirates as well. Whoop, chop. Wow, it's so choppy. Fuel scooping complete. How many jumps have we got? We've got 15 jumps to go. Let's have a quick look at this system. Get my temperature down a little bit. If you wonder why I'm pausing, by the way, every time I go fuel scoop, I pause. I just fly straight for a few seconds before I do anything else. If you see under the A of my little letters on my dashboard, there's the little number there, 37. It says 35. That's my hull temperature. And I want to make sure I'm far away from the star before I do any jumping to hyperdrive, because if I go to hyperdrive while my ship's still hot, it'll increase the temperature even more, and then I have the risk of damage from heat damage. So I always try to get my temperature down away from the star before I do, you know, the FSS like this, before I do any jump. So I'll always take like 5 or 10 seconds to get away from the star when I do some scooping. There's nothing here of any interest, I don't think. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, I don't want to wait. So have a look at here. Got any nav beacons? No nav beacon. No nav beacon to look at. So it's not an inhabited system. Well, let's move on. I will have a look at chat in a second. I promise. Dave says it's not missed a lot. Fox has not managed yet to stab himself with a pixel, but it's early days. Yeah, I can stab myself with 2-dimensional objects. I'm that good. I'm that good at being Captain Stabitatious. Oh, can I just point out as well? It's actually 4 o'clock, and we had no falling over of the stream. So I think my theory that it was Windows running a regularly scheduled update, that it probably does every day, but I never normally notice it because I'm not running stream at the same time, generally. Well, no, on a Saturday. Yeah, it can't do it on a Sunday or any other time because I've never had it happen before. So it must just be on a Saturday at 3:30. It does some kind of background update for various parts of the system, of the operating system, and it must just be. I've turned that off. I just have to remember to turn it back on again when I finished. What have we got here? We've got icy bodies, and that's it. Don't care in that case. Not interested in that. There you go. Right, quick look at chat. With half an eye on the screen in case I get. Is there any other ships in this? If you look at the radar at the bottom, there's just 2 stars. There's no other ships on that radar, so I think I'm safe for the moment. Let's have a look at chat. I went and found Felicity Farseer, says the old boys. That is where I am going. I'm heading towards Felicity Farseer. She's at Desiat. I've also just received an invite from Elvira Martuk. Now, they both do frameshift drives. However, Elvira Martuk does shields and frameshift drives, and Felicity does engines and thrusters and frameshift drives. And the reason I want to go to Felicity more than Elvira is she leads to some other guys later who can engineer some other bits for me that Elvira doesn't. I haven't unlocked these ones yet. So Felicity Farseer, when you play the game, Felicity Farseer is the first one that contacts us. Hey, I see you've done some things. Come and visit me. She's the engineer I'm going to see at Desiat. So what am I doing? Where are we? So yeah, everything's still at 100%, I think. Yeah, just checking. Didn't take any damage from that interdiction. Do I need anything I can turn off while I'm here? Cargo hatch I'll keep. Power distributor I'll turn off. Don't need that on. At the moment, I'm just seeing what I can turn off to save some power and reduce my overall temperature a little tiny bit. It's always worth trying to keep your temperature down. Anyway, yes, chat. In my belly are cannelloni, says Edward. Sounds nice, Edward. Awesome. I want cannelloni now. Jamie Bone is in. Welcome, Jamie. Jamie says bench Airfix 135th M3 Stuart. Awesome. Belly, chicken nuggets, mashed potatoes, and baked beans. That sounds like KFC to me. Dave at Butch That Model says belly was chicken and mushroom pot noodle is correct, and bench is a chain rasp 77 out of 100. He's building 100 chain rasps. Wow. Edward Ruiz says on my bench Shemin from RFM, Priest from Dragon, GMC 2.5 ton truck from Tamiya, Willys from Tacom, and Amphicar from Tamiya and Amphicar. That's a lot of stuff to be built at the same time, dude. You can call them in solo as well, says Juggernaut. He's talking about the fuel rats. If you run out of fuel, if you're playing in solo, what you need to do is when you get too low, if you run out of fuel, you stop your game. You go back to the main menu. You go to their website. You call them, and they will then join you in a private session. What you do is you have to send that person, whoever they send to you, because there's lots of them, they might say, right, we're sending Bob, he'll come and give you some fuel. What you then need to do is that person will contact you and give you their gamer tag or whatever service you're on. If you're on Xbox, for example, you have to friend them on Xbox, and then you invite them to your wing, which is it's up here somewhere. You invite them to your wing. There's none here pending at the minute, but you invite them to your wing so that, oh shit, there's somebody. I don't know if that's an old message or a new message from that pirate, but I'm not waiting to find out. Yeah, basically you invite them to your wing, and then they'll say, right, you'll tell them where you are, and then you stay out of the game. Especially if your fuel is, you can get to the point where your fuel is so low that you kick into life support mode, and your ship has like a finite, maybe 5 or 10 minute life support mode. If you really run out of fuel, everything shuts down apart from life support, and you've got literally 5 minutes of game time, or 10 minutes before you die. So what you'll do is you'll come out of the game, you will call the fuel rats, you'll find out who's coming to help you out, you will stay out of the game until that person says, I am in the system that you're in. Then you will go into the game, send them an invite to your wing so that they can see where you are and you can see where they are. When you're in a wing with someone, you can see each other, you get a little marker. They will come to you and they'll just transfer fuel limpets. And that's it. And they don't ask for anything in return, they do it because they love doing it. They have their own livery and everything, and like I say, it's just a group of players that started doing it, and the developers loved it so much they just took it seriously and said, you know what, you're now an official player faction, the Fuel Rats. We've got fuel, you don't. Any questions? And apparently anyone can become a fuel rat if you want to. Anyone can become a fuel rat. There's a kind of like code of honor they do, but anyone. There's nothing stopping you or me becoming a fuel rat if you really want to. There's nothing in this system at all apart from some signal sources. What's that? Yeah, we'll have a bit of that. Should we have a bit of that? Let's go and see if we can pick up some goodies. While we're here, may as well. I can't see anybody else on my radar in this system, so we'll go and have a look and see. Yeah, so anyone can become a fuel rat. I'll come back to the chat in a second. A victory loop sounds better than the loop of shame, says the Orc Boys. Yeah, loop of shame is terrible. There's nothing worse. If you don't know what the loop of shame is, look at where I'm going. In that circle it says degraded emissions, threat 0, 3,000 odd light seconds, that's the distance to the target, and then it's got the time, 2 minutes 20 something underneath. When that gets to 7 seconds, if you look at my throttle underneath the rude word on my dashboard, this line that's going up and down on my throttle now, you see that line going up and down? That needs to be there. On that blue line, it needs to be in the middle. If I have it there, then I will not overshoot the target. If it's higher than that, I'll just overshoot the target and have to come all the way back round. Because what happens is, as you get close to your target, whatever it is, it exerts a gravitational pull, and if you're not at 75% thrust or less, it'll fling you past it, and you'll get pulled in by its gravity. Even if it's a small thing, you'll get pulled in and flung out like a slingshot. So that's what the loop of shame is, especially if you're coming towards a planet or a star. If you're going too fast, you'll just slingshot past it. And it's weird when you think about it, it's quite clever they've built that in. You wouldn't think you'd have to take account of that, but you do. So you'll see when that clock gets down to 7 seconds, I will drop my thrust down. So keep an eye on this, down there in the middle, bottom left middle, bottom right middle. Keep an eye on that. When I get to 7 seconds, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, down, 75% thrust, but halfway there. And what will happen is it'll just give me a countdown and then tell me when I can disengage. If I didn't, it would fling me past. Now I know this is just a debris pile, so it shouldn't really have a gravitational pull on my ship, and it's just kind of more for continuity because it's the same with planets and other bodies, so just makes it more interesting. Now you can set a button to automatically dethrottle to 75%, but that's boring. I like to manually ride the throttle. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sack. There's only 2 minutes 55 remaining on this encounter. I'm not going to bother. There's only 2 minutes left on that. By the time we get there, there'll be like 30 seconds to scoop stuff up. So you know what? We'll just go to the next star. I'm going to have a swig of tea. Then we'll get in this system. We'll scoop. How many systems have we got left? 13 jumps. We'll get in here, we'll scoop, and we'll have another look at chat. Do. Greetings, Commander. I'd like to be a Kovas voice. Kovas is your voice assistant. It's the voice you hear talking. It's like the voice of the computer. With in-game monies, you can buy different voice assistants. But if you're playing on PC, you can actually just add your own. You can change all your, your HUD colour and everything else, your dashboard colours. Not on consoles. On consoles, you can't do your own custom Kovas voices, but you can do your own. And there's lots of third-party Kovas voices, including like Stephen Fry and loads of other people. I'd love to just do a Kovas voice. Greetings, Commander. This is Fox, your cockpit voice assistant. Fuel scooping. Well, I don't know if I'll be that serious with it. I might have to be a bit silly. Icy bodies, rocky bodies, high metal content worlds. There's potential there. One new contact. There's a ship in this system. I'm not having that. I'm jumping. I'm not waiting. I don't like the way that ship's come up behind me. There's 3 in this system. I've got cargo. That little square that little square between the S and the E of my rude dashboard word that's moving around. That's another ship. That little square there. That's another ship, and that could potentially. Hello, Mama Fox. That could be a nasty, nasty pirate looking to interdict me. So I'm just getting out of there. I ain't taking no risks, no nothing. The reality kind of is, if you jump into a system where there's no, like, if it's not an inhabited system, you don't often get pulled by pirates. It's generally where there's signs of habitation or a nav beacon that you'll get them, or there's going to be other ships around. Generally when it's just an empty system, you don't tend to get interdicted because there's not anybody else there. I thought that said Yamankini. Where are we going? We're going to Yamankini. I don't want to go to my Mankini, thank you very much. What's in this system? We have nothing at all, apart from many, many degraded signal sources. Something's gone on here. Let's have a look. Degraded emissions. These are all like, they tend to be like wrecked ships, or even shipwrecks as we like to call them. So it's unusual to see so many in one place, which means something happened here. Something's gone on, which makes me a bit suspicious. What's gone on here for so many like shipwrecks? Could be pirates, could be Thargoids in the past. Let's have a look. I'm intrigued there. I want to have a look. Check. Oh, 201,000 light seconds though. No, that's like 20 minutes away from where we are. Let's not bother with that. Let's not bother with that. So quick look at chat while we're waiting. Yes, they were like literally 15 minutes of travel away from where we are now, so I'm not doing that. Let's have a look. Yo, hello all, and what have I missed? Said somebody, and then it jumped. That was Jan's car, but we've spoken to you. Edward Leonard says, astronomers have discovered a mysterious new class of objects at the heart of the Milky Way, unlike anything else found previously in our galaxy. The objects look like gas, but behave like stars. Interesting, I shall have to look that up. I do like me a bit of astronomy and cosmology. Fascinating. When I was at school, science was boring. It really was boring. When I left school, I realised that science was a lot more interesting than they taught us. So I'm such a passionate, like, science nerd right now. Anything especially to do with like cosmology and astronomy, anything like astrophysics and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I love it. Candygram from Mongo says greetings. They start off small and compact but are stretched by larger size when they approach the supermassive black hole in the centre of the galaxy. So it could sound like just a pocket of gas being stretched through gravitational tidal forces, but it might not be. Interesting. Now, new analysis of data on the 6G objects makes astronomers think that they were formed when binary stars collided. Binary stars are twin... We're doing a bit of science here, thanks Edward. Binary stars are twin star systems in which two stars are locked in a mutual orbit. But sometimes these stars can smash together and merge, producing a huge cloud of dust and gas surrounding the now singular merged star. Yep, sounds awesome. Thank you for that little bit of science. Do feel free, seeing as we're doing space, as this stream is all about space, if all of you have space facts or want to ask interesting space questions, feel free to ask them. Absolutely ask them. Because if it's not something I know, which it probably won't be, then somebody in chat might know. So if you have questions about space, ask. Ask. Let's make this a Elite Dangerous and space knowledge science thing. That'd be great, these streams. Don't forget, of course, if you want to catch my attention in chat, I've got it in front of me here. You can't see, but I'm looking at it now. But do put your comment in big fat capital letters, or if you really want to catch my attention, you can do a super chat, which is the little dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window. If you do a super chat, it puts it in a big coloured box, it puts an animation at the top of the screen, and also it makes a noise, and I have no way to miss your comment then. And also, if you do a super chat, that also helps support this channel a little bit, because you put a little bit of money in for a super chat, and it helps support the channel because it goes to paying for the bills and keeping the lights on. So also, thank you very much. Can you get interdicted while hyper jumping? You can. When you're in witch space, which is the space when you do a jump between two stars, but only by Thargoids. Humans in the game don't have that technology. We can only be interdicted from hyperspace, from super cruise. The only ones that can hyperdict, it's called hyperdicting, that's when you're in witch space, and that's by Thargoids. That's when they pull you out of witch space, and you're like, big Thargoid ship, brown trouser moment. What are you going to do? Jim Lee, welcome Jim Lee. Just noticed my little dashboard ornaments. Yes, that's purely because it is, I'll show you, it is my ship registry is, of course, I'll have to move it again now though. It's a bit dark, but my ship, oh hello, that went wrong. What happened there? I don't know where I've gone now. I've vanished. That is because my ship registry is it just happens to be at the same time. Yeah. So there you go. Next question, what we're doing. I've just recently started playing this myself. I got an Aspect Explorer. I'm loving it, says Jim. Yeah, Aspect Explorer is brilliant. Until you can afford a Crate Mark II. The Aspect Explorer, well, before the Crate Mark II came out, that became available, the Aspect Explorer was the go-to exploration vessel because it had, compared to all the other ships, it had the best jump range and cargo slots and stuff available, number of slots for an exploration vessel. There are ones with more slots for more things, and there are ones with greater jump ranges, but that was the best all-rounder for having enough slots for equipment. You can carry 2 repair units, you can carry all your SRV to explore. I had an Aspect Explorer for a long time. That was called the Big Fat Asp. And it was only when the Crate Mark II came out that gave me a few more slots for like equipment that I upgraded to that and had a slightly bigger jump range and a few more slots. So stick with your Asp. If you get the chance to upgrade to a Crate Mark II, not a Crate Phantom, the Crate Phantom is pants, go for the Crate Mark II. That's a fantastic, even better exploration vessel. But it depends obviously on how much money you've earned. But you can't go wrong with an Asp. If you want a single cockpit where you've not like, I don't like two-seat cockpits where you sit at the side and you're looking from the side of the cockpit. I want to look straight down the middle of the cockpit, and that's why I like the Asp, and that's why I like the Crate. Although with the Asp you're kind of sitting in a fishbowl, which is a bit weird. 4 o'clock. It is 5 o'clock. No, 4:15. It is here anyway. Juggernaut says, been ill all week and haven't had the stamina to start this game, just tubing it. Everybody says hello, by the way, Mama Fox.
Hello everybody.
Just tubing it, finally just purchased, so digging around for my ancient HOTAS. Yeah, if you fancy playing this game, especially if you're on console, do be aware. There's 3 ways to play it. You can play it on console, you can play it on a controller, a standard console controller. You can play it with keyboard and mouse, or you can play it with the HOTAS stick set. If you have the option of a HOTAS stick set, for the love of dog, take that, because that is by far the best way to play it. It's the most flexible way. If you try it on a controller, you'll hate the game because there aren't enough buttons and you have to do lots of juggling around the buttons. If you try on a keyboard and mouse, it's alright. It's just you've got a billion keyboard keys to press and you're not really relaxed. Get yourself a Hotus setup if you've got one, if you can afford one. It makes the game much better. But Dave at Butcher That Model says he managed to get me to 2 loops of shame last week. We'll get 3 soon. Candygram asks, says he hopes Dad is feeling better. Yeah, Dad, aka Mike Mountain, was poorly sick last week. I've not heard from him, but I think directly, but I know I think he's feeling better anyway. Dave says he's better, but not 100%. Paul Di Tomaso was in. Hello everyone, how is things? Hey Paul, how you doing, buddy? Edward says 40 minutes and my shift ends. Yay! So Space Question says Dave, for you to think about. Here we go. The universe is expanding and actual. I'll start this again. The universe is expanding. The expatiation is accelerating, but what is it expanding into? Okay, so I don't know what expatiation means, but what you're saying is the universe is expanding, but what is it expanding into? Itself, it's just expanding. It's just if a current understanding is correct, it's infinite. So therefore, it's not expanding into anything. It's just expanding. And believe it or not, although this is totally counterintuitive, it is expanding faster than the speed of light. Which sounds really counterintuitive because nothing can travel faster than the speed of light, but it's space-time that's expanding faster than the speed of light, not actual matter. So that's not bound by that. Yes, and then another thing, because of that, because space-time is expanding at such a fast rate, it's highly likely that even if we get to travel to other stars within our galaxy, it's highly likely that we would never get to travel to other galaxies. Not because they're a long way away, because you could still get there theoretically. You could travel that amount of distance, but because they are traveling faster than we could travel to get to the next galaxy. So over time, as galaxies get further and further apart, each galaxy will not be in communication with the galaxies around it because they can't travel fast enough to get to that galaxy because they're traveling beyond the speed of light. So even if you could make a ship that travelled at the speed of light, it would still be travelling slower than the other galaxies and moving apart because of the expansion of space and time, or space-time. Mind blown. It took me a long time to get my head around that, the idea that space is expanding but faster than the speed of light, even though nothing can be. Yeah, it makes sense though. People are talking about their shifts. Paul started his at 11 a.m. Edward started at 6. Do you prefer Edward or Edward? Edward. Which do you prefer? I don't know how you can answer that in chat really, but there you go. George is in. George Gabriel. Welcome, George. Welcome, matey. Jekyll says something in Russian. Unfortunately, I don't read Cyrillic, but welcome. Carolina Roberto says hello. Welcome, Carolina. Dad is in. Just his second logged in. Hello. Feeling great now. Thanks. Finally over the flu, says Dad. Nim says, hey dude, did I just come in and Fox pulled a 404 on his brain-mouth connection? That's all the time. I always do that. Juggernaut says, given that the universe is infinite, over 6 billion years old and forever expanding, coffee or tea? 14.7 billion years old. Well, we think. I would say coffee, anyway, yes. Nim says, yay, Dad no longer has an germ. Yep. I did rephrase that a bit. Cynical Steve is in. Afternoon all. Welcome, Steve. Hi, Dad. I forgot to say hi. Right, let's jump anyway. Next system. Let's get to your mankini. What's that? It's your mankini. Oh, I don't want a mankini. It's your mankini and you're liking it. Oh, do I have to? Big cup of tea. Yes, Dad was poorly sick last week. We don't like it when Dad's poorly sick. Because Dad is, of course, everybody's dad, so nobody wants Dad to be poorly sick. I've got a sniffly nose. Fantastic. Yeah, so what I'd love for this stream, because a lot of it's just going to be exploration. When we get all the shit modded up, a lot of it's going to be exploration. And I have to admit, I have to be really honest with you guys, I'm not fully... I mean, given that I do live streams all the time, and I'm more than comfortable being on camera and talking on camera. When I'm working on a model, like on Sunday live stream and stuff, there's a certain flow to it. There's a certain pace to the conversation. When I'm doing this though, I just, in my brain, I'm just waffling on for hours, for 3 hours non-stop about nothing. And my brain's going, wow, you're just talking nonsense for 3 hours. I mean, that's normal for me anyway. But I will get a kind of routine and pattern for these streams. Because I don't intend on always just talking about explaining what I'm doing. Because I know eventually you'll get used to what I'm doing. I won't have to explain what, frame shift drive and stuff is. What's this? Concentrated signal source. So it would be cool eventually. Oh, a nav beacon! Yay! It would be cool eventually. I'm going to take a big risk here by going to a nav beacon because, yeah, it's a risky thing to do with cargo. Eventually, like I say, what I would love is, for example, that we just hang out and talk about sciencey stuff. That'd be great. Just ask questions about science and the universe, and while I just happen to be playing the game. It'd be great. Nav beacon. I've got to be. I'm going to be a little cautious here because this is Prime getting ganked by pirates territory. I've turned my power distributor on so I can put power into my shields, more power, so if I do get my shields taken down a little bit, they can recharge a little bit faster. While I'm just flying around space, I don't need to worry about that, but while I'm coming here, I want to be able to recharge them as quickly as possible, just in case. Because there are other ships. There's a nav beacon, so there will be other ships around here. You just see one whiz past that little orange light, it's another ship. So let's see what happens here. What's the worst that can happen? Actually, don't ask that question. Yeah, don't even begin to answer that question. I have to admit, I do love watching real big old fat slow trade ships just floating past dead slowly, like the Type 9 cargo ships. Just ambling past slowly. It's always kind of fascinating me. Scan the navigation beacon, get some details, and we'll get out of here as quick as we possibly can. Not flying to the sun is always a winner. There goes the beacon, bye! What that little pop-up just meant was I'm near a star. Its gravity is disrupting my frame shift drive, so it's going to take a little longer to charge up. Control, I've located a ship running on fumes. I'm moving in to offer assistance. Search and rescue. That's alright. We don't mind search and rescue. Right, let's have a quick look and see if we've got anything. Nothing that I can see here, but there are some rocky bodies. It is an inhabited system, so if I turn on the magic seeing eye screen, which I need to refresh, I don't know why it suddenly just hiccups sometimes and decides it's going to be another 10 minutes before it updates. It's kind of annoying. So we'll give that a minute. While it's updating, I'll just keep an eye on what's happening in the background world. Make sure I'm not going to get any messages from pirates. I'll put it back up so you can see it, so I can see it. 129. I'll have a look at system map, see if I can see anything here. Boring, boring, boring planets. Boring. They all look like icy bodies. Yeah, no, let's just not bother. There'll be nothing there of any value. There might be a terraformable, but yeah, we'll just crack on. We'll just crack on. We're going to leave Mankini and we're going to head towards Valtam. Valtam. How many jumps have we got left? 10 jumps. Okay. The irony is, of course, when I headed towards mine, so I was coming the other way, that I'm returning along now, it took me a lot longer. It took like 70 jumps because I had it set to economic route. Now I've got it for speed, like just get me there as quick as possible. I'm doing it 25 jumps, which is bad really, because I should have done it for lots more and had the scan data, but never mind. Okay, I've not seen that pirate again, which is quite fine in my book. Thank you very much. Not going to complain about that. Yeah, they need to sort out this janky frame rate. It's not ideal. It's oh god, that made me jump when that popped up. Don't forget, this liner is in the top 1% of all liners out there. That means there's going to be a nav beacon here somewhere, I reckon. Yeah. I'm just going to these nav beacons because it's a quick way to get the astronomical data that I can cache in and see if there's anything worth scanning, probing. Just a quick way of doing it, basically. May as well while I'm here. What was I going to say? I was going to say something. Yeah, I think quite possibly that laggy frame rate is because they've changed the way it generates the planets and the things on each planet if there's objects on the planets. So it's probably janked that slightly, and it's taken a while to create the solar system you jumped into. I reckon that's what it is. I could be wrong. I reckon. Because they've changed it now, so instead of when you're scanning a planet, it will give you a quick indication whether there's likely to be anything geological or biological on it. And then you can choose to scan it more deeply. Whereas before it would take about 30 to 40 seconds to get to that point. And I think... Have we been here before? Let's scan that very quickly. I think it's chugging away trying to generate that information in the new way, and it's causing problems, I think. I reckon. I could be completely wrong. Give it a boost to get away from this star. Boosting now, sir. More boost. Maybe not some more boost, not yet. There we go. Engage. Right, so let's have a look at this system. What have we got? Anything interesting? Rocky icy bodies, bland icy bodies, bland. I'm not seeing anything that looks like an ammonia world or a water world on here. Let's have a look at the FSS. Ices and Rockies and some gas giants. Yeah, they're all boring. That's the next system. There you go. Nothing worth looking at. But at least I've got all the data for that system now that I can sell. In fact, what we'll do first, before we jump, let's have a quick look at chat. Dave says, next question is, apparently the thinking now is that we live in a multiverse. That's a very old thing. It's been around for like 30 or 40 years, that. So is the outer multiverse is the invisible dark matter and dark energy and the current expansion caused by another universe trying to occupy the same time and space as our universe. Current thinking is that if there is a multiverse, it's just an idea. If there is a multiverse, people are looking for evidence of it, that they may be in bubbles. That universes may be like all over the place. And that if there is contact between them, then yeah, that might be a source of dark matter perhaps. Mark 3Bs is in. Afternoon all. Welcome, Mark. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Nim says, it's funny, I'm watching a special on how the universe works. Wow, there's a very broad subject. Welcome to this program where we'll just talk about how everything works. Everything. How everything works. Nav beacons are like cheeses on a mousetrap. Yes, they are. That's why I get a bit nervous when I have to go to one. Paul de Tomasa says, we are getting dumped on with snow here in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. G'day, did I just say g'day to a Canadian? I'm an idiot. We expect heavy weather tomorrow here in Barcelona, says Eduard. Dead stardust full of tiny, tiny small microatoms, says Eon's car, but I don't quite know why, but it sounds good. Already snowing in the Pyrenees. We've had no snow here at all. We had Storm Bernard or Brandon or Bernice, whatever it was called, come by, we got none of it. We got a little bit of rain and that was it. But we're kind of get away with a lot of the bad weather, so we're quite lucky. Buffalo, New York got some snow, but it's going to get worse. Dusting, says Nim. Eric's, I don't know why we suddenly started on the weather, but it's fine. We've got snow to ice rain here in Indiana. New Brunswick is getting hammered big time, says Paul. Well, aren't we having a very British conversation, jammering about the weather, says Nim. I know, and I didn't even start it. I don't even know how that started. Dave says it's just raining in England, always just raining, and sometimes it rains. We have always sun and sometimes rain, says Edward. Eric Graham says something and deleted it. It was frosty, though, this morning in Bristol, says Eon's car. For them that don't know England, it rains, says Dave. 30 minutes in, time for the stream to crash. Oh no, we've been going for about an hour and a half. We've been on about an hour and a half. We started at 3 o'clock, it's 4:30 now. So yeah, I think turning off my auto updates on the computer has fixed it, because it seems to be 3:30 on a Saturday was when it would every time would look for something. And in the past I've not been running a stream at the same time, so Carolina says no, I was just, I don't know why. It's half a thought there, Carolina. Oh, now it's snowing here. There, she says. Yeah, I don't think we'll get any snow. I doubt very much we'll get any snow. We very rarely get. When I was a kid, we get like 2 feet of snow. Now we get very little. We did have a good fat snowfall about 10 years ago, and I remember because it was so heavy. It was about 1.5 feet, which is not a lot for somebody who lives, somewhere that gets a lot of snow. But to us, it was so bad that I couldn't actually get to work. The buses were all stopped. I got a taxi who got halfway there and said, "Look, we're not going to make it." I phoned in work and they said, "Yeah, don't bother coming in if you can't. If you've not got a way to get here." Binary star system. Ooh, look at that. Nice binary system, but I've got to be careful. I don't want to get exploded by one while refueling from the other. Yes, they said don't come in. Just leave it. Just don't bother, and we'll, if you can't, you've not. I didn't have a car at the time. If you haven't got a car and the buses aren't running and the taxi can't make it, just don't bother. You'll be fine. My boss told me don't come in, and then the next day said, "Yeah, now we're going to dock you a day's pay because you didn't come in." And I was like, "Well, you told me not to come in." So yeah, but it was a beautiful, because I went back out and it was fantastic because it was proper thick fluffy snow. I didn't finish fueling. What a spoon! I thought I'd finished fueling. You spoon. It was proper deep, thick, fluffy snow, 1970s style. And I'd just been given the soundtrack to the first few seasons of Doctor Who, the 2005-2006. And what I did was I opened the bedroom window here. And I looked out into the garden, and it was just big, fat, fluffy flakes falling to the ground. There was like 2 foot of snow, and it was very loud on my stereo system. The opening few sort of bars to all the strange creatures, which sounds very wintry. And I was like, wow, that's brilliant, because it's just. So whenever I hear that now, I just reminded of that particular piece of music. I mean, I'm reminded of that, hearing that snow. Alright, I think it's photograph time, don't you? Let's zoom out a bit. Let's make me a little bit bigger. We'll go down in the corner. We'll rotate just a little bit, I think. Adjust field of view. Unfortunately, it's got because I've zoomed out quite a way, it's got a bit of a wicked fisheye going on there. We'll move me back a smidge. Actually, you know what? Let's just turn that around a bit. Let's move me up and down. Put me in. Put me there. A little bit of wiggling. And I think that's quite a nice picture. I look like my ship looks like a car from Blade Runner. It's quite cool. We'll take a photo giraffe, and we will do a capture and a screenshot. This might not work because it's not my normal Xbox profile. It hasn't worked. Totally hasn't worked. Well, just gosh darn it. I'll take a picture on my computer. There you go. Take a screenshot on my computer, seeing as Xbox doesn't want to do it. Never mind. Anyway, yes. What we got in this system? Nothing. Apart from a radio source of some sort. Yeah, we'll check that out. We'll check that out, see what it is. I've actually forgotten what I was talking about now. Oh, it's 27,000 light seconds away. Nah, forget it. Not worth the travel distance. Next. We're going to Jonvenk. About this dead stardust, I said it was either cool or depressing that we're all made from dead stars. Yes, we are all made of stardust. Every atom that has ever existed and that will ever exist in our bodies. And everything we eat and drink and look at and touch and feel and smell and taste came from the heart of a star. That's the circle of life. We all start off as gas and dust, and we all become gas and dust over billions of years. See, conservation of energy. Matter is never, energy is never truly lost or destroyed. It's just replaced or it's moved. So, thinking logically, potentially every atom in your body at some point was an atom in a dinosaur. Technically. Because your atoms that make up your body and your molecules and your atoms and your electrons and your quarks and gluons and muons, they don't just pop into existence. Well, they did originally, but they don't just come from nowhere. They're just recycled. So every atom in your body was potentially once in a dinosaur. That's a nav beacon, I think. There's two of them though. What's that? What's that? That's going to be a ship of some sort, or a structure where you get like little missions from, but we're not doing those. Let's just see if there's no beacon this way. Every breath you take. Here's some mind-bending thoughts. Every time you take a breath, it's pretty much guaranteed that at least one of those atoms you breathe in will have been breathed in by a dinosaur. Or, will have been breathed in by, say, Hitler, or Charlie Chaplin, or the Pope. Every time you take a breath, you're breathing in at least one atom that every other human being has ever breathed on this planet. It's mind-blowing when you start thinking like this. But it's all fact, it's all true. I like deep conversations like these. They make your brain go, what? Like our sun, our lovely, lovely, life-giving sun, the heart of our solar system. We only exist because our sun came into existence from all the nebula matter and gas and dust that was there before it was a star. And we coalesced from that. The planets and the bodies and the moons and us and plants and trees and cats and dinosaurs. We coalesced from that matter. But the only reason, the whole thing that started that off, the only reason the sun, our star, even exists and came into existence is because it condensed out of that nebula. And the only reason that nebula was there is because it was the remnants of a long dead star that went its natural way billions and billions of years before. So not only do you owe your existence to a star, as in the sun, You water your existence to the star that came before it that we will never know about. We'll never know anything about it because it's not there anymore. Mind-blowing. And, you know, round that star could have been planets and life of some sort. We'd no way to know. What happened to those planets? If it had planets round it, this star that was there before ours, that created the nebula our star came from, what did it have planets of its own? Was there life around those planets? On those planets? Of some sort? You'll think they're worth playing with. Were all the planets around that star destroyed when it met its end? Or perhaps did some of them get flung off into the depths of interstellar space? Maybe that star went into a red giant phase, and I can't quite line my ship up now. Oh, I'm not even locked on the... You idiot fox. Maybe that star went into a red giant phase and destroyed all its planetary bodies. Or maybe it did that and the ones in the outermost ones just got flung off into space when it died. Who knows? We'll never know because there's no way to know anymore. Bit too hot for me to go into hyper jump. Need to let it cool down. Get to about 40 degrees. We should be all right. No, don't.
Frameshift drive charging.
Doodle 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 doo. We've got 7 jumps left. Doopy 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 doo. It's been properly cold in Stockport this morning. Wandered around for a few hours while the missus got her hair done. Had to go into Warhammer store to warm up. Yep, I like the idea of using the phrase "had to" in front of "go to the Warhammer store." This seems entirely appropriate. I had no choice but to go to the Warhammer store. The only source of warmth in the entire town of Stockport was the Warhammer store. There's no option for me. I had no choice at all. Against my better judgment, I was forced, on a purely biological level, to go to the Warhammer store. These are all valid arguments, if you ask me, I think. I think we consider these arguments valid. I don't think anyone would disagree with me on this matter. What's that? Don't have a nav beacon here. What do we have? We have a gas giant and a signal of some sort. Flat up 0. I'll see if any of these are nearby. I've not heard from my pirate friend again, so I'm kind of not quite as panicky now about that. Quite a few degraded emissions, so some of these might be nearby. What was that? Oh no, there we go. That'll do. I must have something nearby. 1,000, that'll do. Degraded emissions. Caroline Roberta says sorry. Oh no, I don't know why he's saying sorry. You don't have to say sorry to me. Don't ever be sorry to me. All comments are good comments. Would that be possible? 2 suns like that so close together, says Paul Tommaso. In reality, yes. Technically. You can have stars and bodies orbiting that closely. Where it isn't realistic, though, is that they would be ripping plasma and stellar material from each other. You wouldn't just have 2 stars like that. They'd be joined by if they were that close, joined by a massive coma of like plasma and stellar material. Really, the larger one would be ripping the corona off the smaller one. And you'd have either a big glowy ball with 2 stars in it, or you'd have a bridge between the 2. If they were that close. In reality, if they were that close, they would be on an inward, or one would be on an inward spiral to the other, because they wouldn't just happen to be that close. It would be that they started off further apart and have gradually got together, so they'd be on the way together into colliding, but They wouldn't be as neat. There's not. Although the algorithms in this game were designed by an astrophysicist to accurately model stellar systems, so how the planets work, depending on how big the star is and how much material is there to start with, it accurately models the way stars and planets would have formed. And it has been the case where they found a real-life star system of planets and found in this game that it's actually where it is in real life and happens to have about the same kind of planet, which is kind of cool. This game modelled the TRAPPIST system before we discovered it, and it wasn't too far off actually what the TRAPPIST system actually looks like in real life. So it's quite accurate, but it doesn't model everything. It's not 100% massively accurate. Where's the star? Have we just got... What's that? Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, I've just jumped into a degraded signal and forgotten I was jumping into a degraded signal, and I'm like, where's the star? I've just jumped into a system. This is hopefully going to be a rescue ship, not anything dodgy. Where's the little asp? Where's my asp? Where is it? There it is. I assume it's research and rescue. It's an asp explorer, so it probably will be. Yeah, it is. Private data beacon. We'll have a bit of that. I'll get some data from the engineers by scanning that. There we go. Get a bit of that scanned in. Love. There you go. Yeah, so they haven't modelled absolutely everything. So black holes don't look like we think black holes might look like. They're just when they've modelled black holes in this game, they've modelled them as the lensing effect, but not necessarily. They haven't modelled the effect of hot plasmas and things around the event horizon. But they've modelled the gravitational lensing effects. But there's only so much you can do. And you will find in the game, for example, stars that have very close planetary bodies. You sent me a message. Oh yeah. That's what I wanted. Exceptional scrambled data mission data. That's just from that data beacon I've just scrambled. That's useful. Engineers will use that. So yeah, there'll be stars with planetary bodies quite close by, and in reality, you might see again, if it had an atmosphere on the planet, you might see that planet having its atmosphere ripped off. You might see all kinds of things. So they haven't modelled everything. And it might be nice if they do eventually do that, make more realistic interactions between the things they've modelled. But for the time being, no, they haven't done that. Going back to the talk of how we all share atoms, Candygram says, I'm just borrowing atoms for now. Technically we are. Because technically, if you think about it logically, you think of you as you. But what makes up you is a dinosaur eyeball and Harold Macmillan's hair follicle and I don't know, a bit of a bit of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh's tooth, and it's weird, isn't it, when you think about how recycled we all are. Let's have a quick look at the system. We have some icy bodies, gas giants, yada yada yada. There might be a nav beacon. Yeah, there's a nav. We'll check the nav beacon out. Let's check it out. Yippee deepy deep dee. Delicious, delicious nav beacon. Full power to shields for obvious reasons. I'll have a quick look at the chat in a second. I'll get this scan and we'll go back into Hyper Super Duper Cruise. And then we'll have a look at chats. Here's a mind-blowing thought. Look at a photograph of a fossil. Doesn't matter what the fossil is. Could be a trilobite, could be a crinoid, could be a T-Rex, could be a Parasaurolophilus, Parasaurolophilus. I can't remember how you pronounce them now. It could be anything. The likelihood is you have at least one atom in your body somewhere that came from that creature when it was alive. When it was alive! Wow, mind-blowing. And that applies to... Where's my nav beacon? I can never find the damn things. And that's the mind-blowing part of this. It always gets me every time. Right, I've still lost the nav beacon. Where is it? It's down there. There we go. Whatever fossil you look at, you probably have an atom from that organism in your body somewhere. Because don't forget, atoms are incredibly tiny. Does condensed gravity come in tins or cartons, says Mark 3Bs. I'm getting flashbacks to Tiz was now. Dad's now thinking about Sally James. Yeah, I went there. Have a quick look at the chats. When I'm in frame shift, I need to go for a wee as well in a minute. Cynical Steve says they do have binary stars, but not sure if they get that close together. They would do if they were actually colliding. I don't think two stars that close together will be anywhere stable. They would be on the way together to crash into each other, I think. I feel mind blonde, says Carolina. I like that phrase, mind blonde. I had no interest in science when I was at school because what they taught us was so goddamn boring. It was only once I left school and I was free then to look at whatever I wanted to in terms of science, that I found out that science was actually really interesting. And even just as a layman, I don't know anything about maths. I suck at maths, but I can still read and watch material and content about science and understand it. Just exposing yourself to it, that's it. Dave says, Fox, that pirate, how do you know it's not one of us and we are just lulling you into a trap? Well, one, you wouldn't be able to send that comment. Just happen to send a comment that the system, that the AI often uses, and also I'm in solo, so yeah. I'm not stupid, I only ever play in solo. Let's have a look, what else is chat doing? Eos Carr says, two stars that close together in reality would cause condensed gravity and would indeed cause them to merge but lose 5 to 11.670001% mass. It's a very big number. Dave says, guys and girls, there is an app for you, although he misspells it, he says gays and girls. That's unfortunate misspelling. Guys and girls, there is an app for your phone called Exoplanets. Go download it. Neil deGrasse Tyson mentioned it on a YouTube video I was watching and it is amazing. This is the very definition of deep space. It's like Fox has been possessed by Brian Cox. If you fly in Elite Dangerous, if you fly through the universe, you can see all the stars. It's brilliant. They're all fantastic. It's amazing. And I don't even have to go to a mountaintop in Peru to tell you about these stars, which are brilliant. All of them, they're all real stars. It's all fantastic. That was my half-baked impression of Professor Brian Cox. What was I talking about? Yes, it's my very definition of deep space. I may not be probing, but we're going deep. I just said that. Oh, man. Tins like condensed milk, obs. Condensed gravity or other mean... start again. Ian's car says, condensed gravity other means is gravity that is a lot higher than no planet would have a stable orbit. Yes. I don't think two objects close together would increase the gravity between them. If you think of it logically, if you take two objects, the gravity between them remains the same. They don't. Gravity is a distortion of space and time. So if you take two objects they both have an amount of space and time, amount of distortion they cause to space and time. If you put them close together, individually, they'll still only distort space-time the same amount. But as they get closer together, of course, that amount will combine to distort the space-time around them more, and their gravitational pull on each other will increase exponentially as they get closer. But overall, in total, their effect on the space-time around them together would not increase necessarily. If they were just like, stars colliding, not going into black holes, which is a whole different proposition, but just two regular objects, I don't think they would increase. I could be wrong. I didn't know you could keep planets in stables. Yeah. Right, I need to go for a great big wee, so I'm gonna put the be right back in a minute thing. I'm gonna go for a great big wee, and I'll be back within a minute. Turn the microphone off so you don't listen to the toilet flushing. 1 second, I shall be right back in a moment, and hopefully I don't get intercepted while I'm having a wee, because I won't know about it. I am returned. Hello, welcome back. There you go, much better. Oh, that's better. I needed that. I did go before we started, but I've been drinking a lot of tea, so... I've got a fingerprint on my glasses lens for some reason. I'm just cleaning my glasses. Hang on, I've got a big thumbprint on them for some reason. Hey, where are we up to, chat-wise? But gravity is one of the weak forces, so how does it manage to hold the universe together? Because it's a weak force compared to the other ones, like the electromagnetic force. It's not still weak. It doesn't. Just because it's called a weak force doesn't mean it's actually weak. Tell any satellite that comes crashing down to Earth because it's been pulled in by the gravitational force of Earth. It's yes. And the counterintuitive thing about gravity is, now I've had this told to me and explained, but I don't understand it. That I don't get it at all. But when you sit in a chair and you can feel your butt in the chair, the logic way of thinking says, to hit hyperdrive, logically you're thinking, I'm being pulled down in the chair by the gravity of Earth. The massive gravitational distortion of space-time by Earth is pulling me towards it. That's not correct. What you're feeling is the Earth pushing up against your butt. It's the other way around. And I don't get that. I don't understand that. If somebody can explain that to me in a way that makes some kind of sense. It's not that you're being pulled down towards Earth, it's that Earth is pushing. I need to listen to more podcasts that explain that better, I think. Yes, it's very weird. Gravity's weird. The truth is that there's a lot about gravity we still don't understand in science. You know what? When I was having a wee, I was having a think at the same time, and I was thinking, what would be brilliant? Like one day, if I somehow managed to get successful doing YouTubes and stuff, You know what would be awesome is to one day sit here and play Elite Dangerous. There's a ship behind me. See that little square on the tracker? That's a ship. I'm not liking that ship that's behind me. I'm going to get out of here. No, I'm not going to risk it. It's too hot. I can't jump yet because my ship's too hot. I've got to get the temperature down. But I don't like it when there's a ship real close to me when I jump into a system. It probably nothing, but I don't like it. Yeah, I'd love if I made a success this one day. I'd love to be sitting here playing Elite Dangerous, but whilst having sat next to me a proper ass scientist, like your Neil deGrasse Tysons or your guys from or your Brian Coxes or your any scientist or of any kind, and basically it'd be me playing Elite Dangerous while the scientist chats and talks to people in chat, and we interview him at the same time, and it's like, that'd be brilliant. Not the scientist playing Elite Dangerous, because you can't just play Elite Dangerous, but we'd be doing this and we'd have a proper like sciencey person answering questions. Oh, that'd be brilliant. It's like a science podcast, but where I might just happen to be also playing a video game while interviewing the scientist. Oh, that'd be brilliant. Right, I need to see what we've got. A beacon of navigations. Yeah, that's the thing about gravity. Gravity being a weak force, it's just weak compared to the others. Like the electromagnetic force, the force that holds atoms together, is so ridiculously strong compared to gravity. Gravity can pull a feather down to Earth, or a feather can fall down to Earth because of gravity. Whereas the electromagnetic force, if you want to separate two atoms, think about it logically. For an example of how strong the atomic force is, the electromagnetic force, if you want to pull two atoms apart, how do you do it? In a nuclear reactor, because that's how strong that force is. And when you do that, you release massive amounts of energy. Whereas gravity is feeble compared to that. Gravity is almost nothing. But it doesn't mean that gravity is weak. Because let's not forget, gravity may not be super, super strong, but it acts on almost infinite distances. Because not only is your butt, is gravity strong enough to push the Earth up to your butt in the chair, it's also pulling the Andromeda Galaxy towards the Milky Way. And that's over hundreds of millions of light years, or however far it is to... Somebody tell me how far away the Andromeda Galaxy is, I don't know. Not only is that working over hundreds and thousands and millions of light years, if you take a galaxy on one side of the universe and a galaxy on the other side of the universe, albeit tiny, there is still a gravitational force between them. No matter how far apart two objects are, they still exert some form of gravitational impact on each other. Even if it's imperceptible, it's still there. So maybe not the strongest, but it works on an incredibly, almost infinite scale. It's mind-blowing. Let's have a look. Gravity is one of the weak. Oh, we've done that one. Science, says Cynical Steve. It may be weak, but there's lots of it. Butch, that model says, alright, I'm in with it now. I'm with it now, Mark. It's a bit like my ex-wife then. There was a lot of her as well. Yeah. Time for some lunch, says Paul. Enjoy your wife. Enjoy your wife? No, enjoy your lunch. Oh, God. That went wrong, didn't it? Enjoy your wife. Oh, dear. Enjoy your wife as well, but not when you're on lunch at work. I'll just shut. I need tea. Hang on. Let me take a swig of tea before I dig that hole any deeper. See what you maybe do now. It's all gone wrong. I'm going for lunch. Enjoy your wife. Oh dear. Right, where are we? We are in this system that has... what's this system got? Nothing. Boring then, that, isn't it? Icy bodies, don't care. Asteroid clusters, nothing in this system at all of any interest. Next system. Nearly accidentally dropped out of frame shift drive then. That would have killed my hull. We've got 3 jumps left before I can... we're going to Japan. You're missing a J. It's missing a J. I can't see that as anything other than Japan without the J on the end. Dave says, "Oh my god, that was better. That was better than getting 3 loops of shame." Yeah, that went a bit wrong, didn't it? My wife is at home, says Paul. Yeah, maybe you get a long lunchtime. I don't know. I'll just shut up. Oh dear, I'm hungry. I'm not thinking right. I've just discovered Japan. And I read it as you've just discovered Japan. I have on my computer, I have a clock tool. I think there's a problem with my motherboard. I think the battery in my motherboard went, so the clock, it doesn't keep time. It loses the correct time. It doesn't, like your computer clock. So every time I turn it on, it's whatever it was when I turned it off the night before, like 1:30 in the morning or something. So it's obviously got a fault. But I found that. So if you just leave the computer running, it will never update. But I found that... what's this? What's this? I found a little app for Windows that will, every half hour, will update your system clock. So if your system's a bit knackered and it can't constantly store the correct time, this little app will just, and you can set it to do it every 5 minutes if you wanted, but it constantly updates it. And I can't remember what it's called, so I can't recommend it. But it tickles me because what it does is when you first turn the computer on, you load it up and you say sync, and you tell it to sync up, and it basically checks with a load of atomic clocks around the world. We'll have one of these and see what we've got. It checks around the world, and it goes through and it says, looking up, msu.edu. this, that, and the other, and all these different educational establishments and universities and stuff, where it tries to sync up, and it'll link up and sync and say it'll sleep for half an hour, and it'll say sleeping for half an hour, or it'll jump on. If it can't connect, it'll jump to the next one. But for some reason, although most of the world, it lists like connecting to, MIT.whatever.edu, or it'll say connecting to Greenwich Observatory. Whatever. For some reason, whatever the Danish atomic clocks are called, it just says connecting to Denmark. And it always says connecting to Denmark, and then it pops up and says error connecting to Denmark. And I'm like, wow, it can't connect to the entire country. It's the only country it does. It just tickles when it says error connecting to Denmark. I'm like, that just tickles me. That's the way my brain works. Dave says, yes, it's probably my BIOS battery that's about to fail. It may well be. It actually started doing it the moment I unplugged something. I've got 3 USB ports. One of them's a USB 3, and I pulled out something from the USB 3 port, and the whole port just came off. The whole socket just kind of detached itself from the board and from the case. And at that exact moment, I've overshot now. I was getting carried away. There you go, loop of shame. From that exact moment, my system clock didn't stay updated. Now it's not I don't know if it's the battery, because if I turn the computer off at say 1:45 in the morning, when I turn it on again the next day, it defaults to 1:45 in the morning. So it's storing the time. It's just not. Even if I checked it and it's supposed to be linking to the Microsoft time service and other time service, it just doesn't do it. It carries on from there. And if I set the clock to the correct time within half an hour, it's just wandered out again. So I don't think it's the BIOS battery. I think when I damaged the USB slot, it's damaged something on the motherboard that just happens to be related to the clock. Because it's a bit of a coincidence that at exactly the same time I damaged the USB socket, it suddenly knackered the clock. So I think I think it's a physical problem. Right, there's no other ships here. That's good. Oh, there's a ship coming in. What's that? I'm not liking that ship that's just come in. It's about to come in. What's this? You see that little yellow wiggly thing? For one, the triangle means it's possibly got its weapons out, but it's not quite come out of frame shift drive yet, so it's not appeared. There it is. What is it? What is it? It's not even close enough for me to scan yet. I can see it moving there. What is that? What is that ship? It's moving fast. Don't like it. Don't like it. I want to know it's not a pirate. I think he's jumping out again. He's not quite... The reason he's going all flicky on my radar is because he's either jumping out into frame shift. He's either in Super Cruise coming out of it, or he's going into Super Cruise. He's not fully unjumped. So he doesn't appear on my tracker anywhere or on my list of contacts. I don't know what it is. I don't want to risk it being a pirate. But he's not stabilized yet. I don't trust it. I'm not sure if I want to hang around. No, I don't. Let's blow. Let's get out of here. I want to get rid of my cargo scope. I want to change that. I want to get out of here. What's deployed now? Did I pop my gun? I must have popped my guns out. Let's just get out of here. There's a whole load of ships suddenly appeared. What's going on there? All kinds of ships turning up. Well, let's just get away from there. It was scaring me. It sounds like the battery for BIOS is running low or there's a poor connection. Given the fact that I physically broke my USB socket, which is up at the top on the case computer, but it basically it janked and cracked and disappeared inside. So I think most likely it's a physical connection that's broken on the motherboard, and that just happens to have also affected the clock. It's over a year ago now, and you know my computer still works fine. It's just the clock won't keep time. So I've got this little app that just makes sure it resyncs every half hour to an established international timekeeping thing. So it works fine. It works fine. I'll get it replaced at some point. As long as everything roughly works, I don't mind so much. Now, beacon across the... I'm not singing that song, copyright reasons. Did I just not select that at all? There you go, it's better. We'll have a look at chat in a second. Attack, attack, says Paul. I haven't got any weapons. Juggernaut says, solution, don't turn off your computer. Yeah, then you've got to pay the electric bills. It's not an ideal solution. Navigation beacon. Let's learn some things on this system. I do strongly encourage you, by the way, if you don't already, I do strongly encourage everyone to forget, assuming that you don't have an interest in science right now. Where's the nav beacon? Oh, you can never find it. I do encourage all of you, if you're not already scientifically literate, because I'm not scientifically literate, just to start reading science blogs, science websites, start watching factual science programming. Things like, for some of the best science programming, if you're American, you need to accept the fact that 99.9% of your science programming is garbage. I hate to say it, but it is. 99% of your science programs are lowbrow, catering to simpletons garbage. Watch like BBC Horizon. some of the scientific stuff, some of the science programming that the BBC does is just incredible. Forget Discovery, and that's just crap. A lot of Discovery is drivel. It's aimed at people who can barely spell their own. If you watch stuff on Discovery, it's kind of aimed at people that can barely spell their own name correctly. Watch some proper scientific programming. But yeah, if you don't think that you're scientific literate and you've never had an interest in it, I do strongly recommend go and watch or read science stuff. And it doesn't have to be... Where am I going? No, I don't want to do that. I don't mean go and, read scientific papers, because trust me, nobody reads scientific papers other than scientists. That's not something anybody does. Because, no, nobody can get into them. But visit popular science websites, ones that are aimed at the average person, and start reading stuff. You'll be amazed how actually accessible a lot of science actually is to the average Joe. It's not all mysterious, complicated stuff. You're not going to suddenly find yourself outclassed, because a lot of the science education is aimed at people who haven't got the science education. That's the whole point. So, yeah, just if you haven't before, and you've never had an interest in science before, or if you feel that your science education was not that great and you've missed out, just dive into it, do it, watch it, find an area of science that interests you, be it geology, biology, cosmology, quantum mechanics, electronics, anything like that, computing. Just go and find an area of science, because I can honestly say that my life is much richer now for the last 10 or 15 years that I've been absorbing science programming and blogs and articles and podcasts. Just for, I may not know everything. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, and I probably won't remember most of it. But it's there, and it's just information that makes you realise a lot of stuff. And you realise how much of your life is based upon absolute nonsense. You start to think to yourself, wow, how did I even begin to believe X, Y, or Z? A lot of it is just, you'll be amazed, and your life will become much more richer. So if you haven't before, go and sort it out. Go and do it. Go and learn things. To the point where it's actually fun now. I enjoy watching sciencey things. I enjoy reading sciencey things. I'll quite happily sit and watch Horizon. Dave says go onto YouTube and watch the Royal Institution Christmas lectures. I would say don't, actually, because the old ones, yes, like the days of Carl Sagan talking about the solar system, absolutely. The modern ones, they're annoying. They're aimed at kids, but they've become slightly patronising, and they've kind of become, we need to keep everything busy and moving for less than 10 seconds, otherwise kids will get bored. They've fallen into that trap of treating the audience, although the Christmas lectures are for children, they fall into the trap of treating the audience like children, which is never a good plan. They never used to do that, and they were great. Just find somewhere that has a big collection of like BBC Horizon programming. You can't beat Horizon. It's been going for 40 or 50 years, and some of them are clunkers, some of them are incredible. Watch anything done by Professor Brian Cox. Watch anything done by Carl Sagan. If you haven't watched it, go and watch Carl Sagan's Cosmos. Neil deGrasse Tyson's Cosmos, it was alright, but it wasn't brilliant. But if you haven't watched Carl Sagan's Cosmos, watch it. Most of it is still relevant, even though it's old. Some of it's still relevant information. I'm just lining myself up with this space station now. I've learned how to do this recently, so that I don't end up coming out into the space station at the back end. There we go, I should be at the front end now. So yeah, just go and learn things. If you've never watched Carl Sagan's Cosmos, that's your first port of call. Watch that. A generation of scientists were created simply because of that program. And yes, it's like 40 years old, and yes, it's a bit rough around the edges, but a lot of the information is still valid, and the view of the universe, the view of looking at the world it teaches, the scientific method, the inquiry that it suggests, it encourages, is still valid. Here comes Luke number 2, says Dave. I think you will be what's the word? Disappointed. Let's see. I'm even lined up on the right end and everything. Sorry, Dave. No cigar for you. Right, so we're going to just dive into here. This is purely to dump my astronomical data. This space station is owned by the Sirius company, and they unlock the permit for the Sirius star system. And there's a few systems that are locked by permits, and it's a grind to unlock them. And I'd spent about 2 days doing poxy little freight jobs to try and unlock it, and I got almost there, but realised I should just cache in a load of astronomical data. That would have been a lot faster. So I've got some now, not a lot, but I've got it might be enough. It might not. 21, where's 21? There it is. Landing gear. It might be enough. We'll see. But if not, I thought as I'm going past here anyway, I may as well cache some stuff in and see if I can unlock the Sirius system. Yeah, so if you haven't, if you've never been scientifically oriented, don't feel for 1 minute that you. One thing you should never do is think, well, there's no point me trying to do that. I'm far too stupid. I'll never understand any of that stuff. That's nonsense. That's why people are scientifically literate, because they've never been taught properly, and they don't think. They don't think they can learn it. Science is available to everyone. You don't have to be a genius to understand it. I'm afraid of maths. I have no understanding of mathematics. Maths terrifies me, and I suck at it. I lose sleep having to do my tax return, and yet I can sit and watch a program on quantum mechanics, and I'll get most of it. I might not understand it fully or at all, but I'll still understand it enough to appreciate it. Right, let's get some stuff going. I'll have a quick look at chat while I'm doing this. Watch Time Team, says Paul Di Tommaso. Absolutely. Archaeology is also science. Go and watch Time Team. There's 15 years of that. Time Team is fantastic. Oh, Mitch and all right, Tony. Let's dig down here and have a look at this Roman stratigraphy. It's fantastic. That is. Let's have a look. Are you saying Bill Nye was a crap show? Says George Gabriel. No, Bill Nye. I'm saying Bill Nye is one of the few American. Okay, I'm not talking about like. I just have to explain it. When I said like 99% of your American science, I mean like faceless programming. Like it's not a scientist presenting, or it's not a well-known person. There's not a presenter talking to camera. It's generic discovery type. Here's a documentary about something, and it's just got a narrator and lots of footage. That kind of stuff that you guys have seems to be terrible, because it's just real. It's really produced with the belief that the audience are idiots, and that frustrates me. Because I can sit and quite happily watch an episode of Horizon talking about, say, quantum entanglement or genetics or whatever the subject's about, and it's just lots of footage. They interview some scientists and they have a narrator. An American version would have crappy music. They'd have the same little bit of CGI repeated over and over and over and over again, and it would just be like 95% fluff. There's nothing in them. There are some good ones, but just most of them are they're just aimed at they really assume that their audience are idiots, and that frustrates me. That really makes me angry. Watch Horizon, and you'll know what proper science programming looks like. I don't mean like where you've got a presenter hosting, like, through the wormhole with what's his face. That's actually quite good, because they're not bad. Actually, they're pretty good. Stuff with Neil deGrasse Tyson or Michio Kaku, who are actually scientists, they're usually quite good. And Bill Nye, the science guy, he's responsible for introducing a lot of kids to science. He aims his at kids, but he doesn't. Where Bill Nye is, he aims it at kids, but he doesn't patronise them. Whereas mainstream science programming in the US patronises the audience by assuming they're idiots and they can't learn more than 3 things in 5 minutes. It's frustrating. It is frustrating. Right. Okay. Anyway, science on hold for a minute. We need to sell all this. I'll just show you. If I come here to the mission board, you will see that I have a mission. Permit acquisition opportunity. I can't help say opportunity and not hear like Quark opportunity in my head. I can't help that. I need to be, the minimum reputation needs to be, if you see on the right hand side where it says minimum reputation, it needs to be allied where the little padlock is. Now, to get all those black lines filled in took about 2 days of poxy little courier missions, and it was hundreds of them, and it was so slow. I'm hoping that when I cash all this data in now, it'll be enough to tip me over and I'll get my permit. I don't know why I want to go to Sirius. I think there's an engineer there that I might need to use. I think. But we'll find out. So let's cash it all in and see what happens. Because if I cash it in here at this station, the people at the station give me credit for it. They give me like a boost. So let's find out. Let's sell the page. Confirm. What have we got? Oh, I've got a message. This could be good. I don't know how much I made there. I may have made some. I'm on 50. I don't think I made that much money out of it. But, yes. Oops, wrong button. An ally of serious coverage. We hope that you will continue to support us. Wait, hang on. Where's my permit? Where's my permit? Hang on. Where's me? I can't remember where I see my permits now. Somewhere it shows me permits that I've gained. I can't remember where that is. Is it here? Materials, data, synthesis, cabin. No, that's not that one. Pilot preferences. Somewhere it shows permits that you've gained. And it's moved and I can't remember where it is now. Somebody tell me where I see my permits. Is it in here? Is it in my codex? Where do I see my permits, folks? I don't know where permits are. Anyway, let's find out. I've unlocked it. Oh, I've got. I'm gonna have something to do now, aren't I? Hang on. Your work has impressed us to grant us a permit. Accept. Yes. Yes. Haha, finally. It's only taken me about a week of gameplay. And I get an achievement. Alright. Lovable. Cool. Hello, Commander Guru Fox. You have been issued with a Sirius System Permit. Fantastic. Which now means, if I go to the big space map, if I go to the big space map, Sirius is there. If I clicked on here before, it would have said it was permit locked and I wouldn't be able to go there. However, I now can go there. But I know there's a reason I want to go there, but I can't remember what it is, ironically. And I really can't remember where I actually see that. Have I got anything to cash in? Any contacts? No. Any bounties? No. No. Yeah, so it's more just a case of a lot of the US documentaries that I've watched, they've just been kind of real patronising drivel. They've not been educational at all. And it's kind of weird and annoying. Right. Okay, well I can't remember where you see... I really can't remember where I see my permits. Anybody in chat tell me where you can see them. Do. It's somewhere. It's somewhere. I can't remember where. Ship. No. I know where it used to be, but it's not been there for a long time. Refinery, materials, data. No. Here we go. Oh, hang on. Might be in here somewhere. There we go. So I've only got the system Sirius system per. I've not got the Sol system yet. I haven't ground that up. But there is a reason I want to go there anyway. Right, quick look at chat. Let's have a look. Pascal says, I'm going to graduate next month so I can call myself Bachelor of Science, BSc. Cool. Basically allowed to slam on computer keys as a programmer. Kick-ass. Congratulations, Pascal. Pascal Levers, BSc. You can put BSc at the end of your name now, legitimately. George says, way to go, Pascal. Welcome to the club. That means George has got some letters as well. I've got no letters after my name. I left school and decided I'd had enough of education and didn't want to go to university. I'm far too lazy, to be honest. I hated school, so I had no real desire to carry on doing more learning. I kind of wish I had, but you can't go back now. I was already a full-time programmer, but now I have a higher degree, says Pascal. Well, congratulations, buddy. Brian M, welcome Brian M, says, I can program my teleremote. That's lies, because no one knows how to do that. That's like saying you can program a VCR. No one really knows. Yeah. I can do batch programming, says Paul. My job is to program the program that programs the telly, says Pascal. Cool. I'm getting confused now. I can chop up dead animals and headbutt my keyboard, says David. Butcher that model. If you hadn't guessed by his name, Dave is a butcher. Yeah. George says, I oversee the programmers who program the program that places the advert placement in television. Cool. Don't need time, team. Just go to Scott's and dig in his garden, says David Butcher. Well, Scott does live in Orkney, and there's a whole mess of archaeology. Yeah. I will one day go and visit Scott in Orkney, and of course the first thing I will do, after saying hello and going through his fridge, is go and visit Skara Brae. Because of course I will. Come on. And then I'll go and look at puffins for 2 weeks. You must be busy then, says Dave to George, because American TV has more adverts than TV programs. Yeah, I hate that. I also overlook everyone but still implement stuff myself, says Pascal. Actually, we're UK based, Dave. That's why I was there in October, says George. I get the hard stuff and do the architecting, so I get my hands dirty weekly, says George. Jamie Byrne says, hi everyone, what have I missed? You've not missed a lot. I didn't get killed by anybody. I did get interdicted by a pirate once. He tried to and he failed because I beat him up. I've fended him off. I've just cashed in some data, and now I need to plot a route to go and meet my engineer, which I should do in a moment. But I've just unlocked the system pass for Sirius, and I know there is a reason to go to Sirius, but I can't remember what it is. Later on, I think it's an engineer who's there or something. Well, tried to make an account and start playing the game, but apparently there are problems with Frontier's server, so I cannot, says Juggernaut. Oh, don't know about that. I'm in. It's not thrown me. I've not fallen over. Normally, if there's a server issue, I would be out of the game by now. Nothing Jamie Foxx has not stabbed himself or been beaten up by bigger boys. Nope. That's a shame about the stabbity, says Jamie. Thank you very much. I received a degree in electrical engineering more than 30 years ago, says Candygram. Has Fox found the sacred Jar Jar yet? Oh, do you know? I don't know. Do you know? This character does not... There's no such character. There's no film in which this character existed. How's my hull? 100% because I've got it fixed. Right, so what I need to do... now we're here. I've still got my convoy of please don't jank me. I've got to go... I managed to somehow get across all these horribly inundated... Thargoid inundated systems. I need to now go to Deciat to meet up with Felicity Farseer, which is there. Let's see how many jumps this will be. This will be 8 jumps. Well, we can do it before the end of the show. We've got half an hour. We've got 20 minutes. Let's go for a quick whiz. Let's go and get there now without farting about. We'll end this show. That's not bad, actually. The last show, we left off with me landing at Maya to get the meta alloys. And this show, hopefully, we'll leave off with me landing at Deciat to do engineer goodness. I'll just make sure there's nobody around. Anybody taking off? Anybody need to worry about? I've done this before. I've got in the habit of checking now, because if I don't check, I fly out the mail slot into somebody's ship who's also taking off at the same time, and then you just get shot by the lasers. And you have to remember, this is the. I want to try and make sure this is the only ship I ever fly. I don't want to get the ship destroyed. I want to try and get to the Sagittarius A star in this specific. I don't just mean in a Sidewinder. I mean in this exact specific ship. It's highly unlikely, but it's not impossible. Right, so we need to get away from the station and then do the zoomy. So my overall goal, yes, when I say like I want to get, you know, 1 billion credits and get to the Sagittarius A star in a Sidewinder, I don't just mean in a Sidewinder, I mean in this specific ship. If I can do that, that's my goal, to get there. So far, this ship has not been destroyed. I've been interdicted many times over the however long I've been playing it. I'll have a look in a minute. I've been interdicted many times, but somehow managed to either avoid the interdiction, or if I've been under attack, federal police ships have turned up and actually saved me. So somehow this is the same ship I got when I first loaded the game up. I don't know how I've done it, but that's what I want to do. I want to keep it going. And there's plenty of ways you can make a tool of yourself and blow up your own ship. Trust me on that. It's not hard. It's not hard at all. Right, let's see if there's. We'll do a quick nav beacon check. Yeah, we'll give it a go. I'm going to guess it's that thing I was just next to there a minute ago. Then again, it's a compromised nav beacon. I don't want to take the risk. Don't want to take the risk. I've got cargo. I can't afford to be exploded. So this star is called Iaia. I think the procedural generation was getting a bit. Oh no, this isn't a procedurally generated name. This is a proper system name, like they physically named this. Iaia. Yeah. Has Fox found this? Oh, we've done that one. Jamie Bowen says pineapple and pizza. Ooh, yeah, pineapple on pizza. I'm happy for that. I'll accept that. I have no problem with pizza and pineapple combined. It is correct. Yes, I left secondary school. I got my A levels. But when I left school, I'm like, you know what? I do not want to do any more learning in school. My friends all went to university. Well, most of my friends went to university. But I'm like, I'm fed up with learning. I'm fed up with school. And I didn't hate school. It wasn't. My education was, it was good quality, but mostly irrelevant. You know, I was at a school where they still taught Latin. I mean, who cares? And Greek. Really? Greek? So, that's how irrelevant my education was. History was always Tudors and Stuarts. Who cares? Science was basic, you know. Science was split into physics, chemistry and biology. Biology was alright. Chemistry was a nightmare I hated. And physics was a laugh, was a joke. Physics was basically, let's learn how to build a circuit. There you go. That's all you need to know now in physics. Nothing else. No quantum mechanics, nothing like that. No quantum theory. So I left thoroughly disillusioned with it, and I thought, I don't need to carry that on now. There's no interest. I'm fed up. Let's go and get a job. And the irony is, of course, that my friends who did go off and get degrees, it really benefited them not at all. One of them did a degree, you know, he's got his PhD and ended up writing software and made his fortune that way, which has nothing to do with the degree he did, which I can't remember what it was now. It just had no bearing on that at all. So those 4 years were a complete waste. And another friend spent 4 years doing his PhD in what was it now? Genetics and biology and all this kind of stuff, bioengineering, and then spent 7 years working stacking shelves, and then got a job in computing. And the degrees they got were no benefit to them at all. I mean, yes, they had a degree, but you know, one of them just spent like 5 or 6 years just stacking shelves with a degree in like bioengineering because there's no jobs. And I was like, you know what? I'm kind of glad I just went and got a job. That'll do me nicely, thank you. No nav beacons here. Puppies, we're going to puppies. It's the puppies sector. Time to go for puppies. But you know, that's not diminishing the value of actually going and getting a degree. If I'm looking back on it now, of course, that was when I was young and naive and stupid. Looking back on it now, with older eyes, of course, I understand that yes, the guys that got degrees that were no use to them had very niche degrees. You know, a degree in bioengineering, that's brilliant. There's probably not a lot of bioengineering degrees around. And I kind of regret, in a way, that I didn't go into university. I kind of wish I had now. Now I'm older and I'm wiser and I've learned stuff. And I see what I could have... If I'd realised and gone to university and learnt, say, something like physics or anything really, or any kind of sciencey stuff, I probably would have actually really enjoyed it, and I probably would have come out of it a very different person, and I wouldn't have spent, I'd like to think I wouldn't have spent 30 years working in dead-end call centre jobs. But at the time, yeah, I was fed up with education. So, but I am jealous now, people with degrees and qualifications, because I kind of wish I'd done it. I regret that I didn't. But we're old and we learn as we get older, you see. Dave says, ooh, she who farts in bed has gone to the chippy. Pie chips and gravy. Yeah, don't forget big sausage and mushy peas. Apparently the new thing is kiwi fruit on pizza, says Paul. No. Denied. No, kiwi fruit is horrible. Don't ever eat kiwi fruit for any reason. David Butch, that model, says, right, be right back, chippy time. Enjoy. Jamie Barron says, nice, but you need to have a traditional pasty instead of pie. Yeah. Yeah, so.
System scan. Fuel scooping.
Don't forget, of course, when I left school, it was like 30 years ago. Very different nowadays. I think if I had my time over, I would go to university. But if I was going to university now, there's so many courses and things now that just didn't even exist when I was that age. There's a lot more stuff you can go to university for now that is actually relevant to a potential career. You know, a lot more, you know, technology aimed degrees and science degrees that just didn't exist. I mean, when I was a kid, when I was, you know, left school, what were your choices for university? You had basically physics, which I don't know how far that would have gone. How that, don't really know. Who knows? That was probably about as good as it got. Yeah, everything else was like sociology, economics, and God, you know, non-degrees, that kind of stuff. So yeah, there wasn't the kind of variation of choice in those days, which probably also contributed to me not wanting to get a degree. Because I'm like, well, I'm not going to get a degree in economics, am I? So I'm not going to get a degree in sociology. So I was just disillusioned. Things have changed in the last 30 years. I think now, it's not something I could do now, and I've thought about this over time, but it's not something I can do now because, you know, I barely afford to feed myself right now. But if I somehow became financially independent like now and didn't have to worry about money, I'd be like, you know what, I'm going to go and do a degree in something. I'm going to do more education that I never did 30 years ago. I'm going to go and learn something interesting. I'm going to learn and study and do, because I kind of missed out. Looking back on it now, I do regret it. I think it was a dumb idea not to do it, not to do a degree, or not to do further education. I do blame the education I'd had for colouring that way of thinking, which is a shame, really. But there you go. Anyway, let's move on. People are talking about pies and pasties. I have a chart showing why pies are better than pasties. Now, pasties are better than pies, I think. I can't eat pies anymore. It's maximum sadness. I used to love a nice pie, but now I can't eat. It's the pastry. I can't. The pastry gives me acid from hell. Pie crust just gives me absolute raging acid and heartburn. Over the last sort of 5-6 years, I can still eat puddings, steak and kidney pud. You know, that kind of suet type pastry, whatever you call that stuff on the outside of a pudding. I can eat that. I can eat pasties, but pies, no, can't eat them anymore. It's maximum sadness. But kiwi on pizza, no, that's just utterly denied. That is. Don't ever mention this again. Don't ever mention kiwi fruit in my presence. Foul, vile things they are. Do. It's like, it's a fruit that tastes like an engine component. It tastes like something you've pulled out of an engine. It just, it's not right. Pascal says current educations are still outdated. Wow, I thought there'd be a lot more relevant stuff nowadays. You know, especially with like technology and computing and that kind of side. I thought there'd be a lot more relevant. I mean, there'd still be the old stuff, the out of date stuff that nobody really cares about. And I'm guessing there's still a lot of like the token degrees, like sociology was. I always saw sociology as it's a degree for getting it. It's a degree just for the sake of getting a degree. You know, it's like a non-degree. It's like when I was at school, there was a lesson called General Studies, which was just random crap, basically, for the sake of getting another A level. Here we go. Look, jumping now to Desiat, which is our final destination. My wife pointed it out to me this morning. She even showed me a picture of it on Facebook. I assume that's the evil fruit on pizza. Ugh. If it's on Facebook, it's probably lies. It's just some Instagram type trying to be edgy. That's what I reckon. Right, so to scoop some fuelage, do some poopy scoopage. Pick up the nav beacon to get all the blurbs. Navigation beacons. Pascal says I only got outdated ICT stuff from years ago, learned all the new things myself. Wow. So it's still a shortfall then. It's like, having said that, I didn't even know that ICT was still a valid phrase. Wow. I thought degrees were much more. Oh, I've done it again. There you go, Dave. There's another thingy for you. Well, it has to be said then, Pascal. If they gave you half the things you needed and you've actually gone off and just done it yourself, then awesome. Shows you've got some skill and talent there. I'm pressing Y. Nothing happened. Oh, there we go. Navigation beacon. It's there. It's gonna be right against the sun, isn't it, where you can't see it? There it is. That tiny black speck there in the middle of the sun is the beacon. Right, so what I need to do now is scan some ships while I've got... No, I won't do that. I need to get my ass in gear. Find out where I need to go. Felicity Farsier says... mark of my location when added to your galaxy map. Okay. Where I don't need the galaxy map. I need the local map. I didn't even need to do that because what I actually need to do. Oh, there we go. Zip. She is on Desiat 6A. So that's where we need to go. You can tell that because I've got the little purple symbol there for her engineer. So I need to go there. So let's go do that. Jamie Bowen says we called it ICT when I was at school. Wow. I think we used to call it that as well. I didn't think it was still called that.
Shift drive charging. 3, 2, 1.
Zeppedy101 says, hello from Canada, having trouble logging on from Steam. Hey Zeppedy101, welcome, welcome. We're kind of coming, we've only got about 5 minutes to go, but welcome, thank you for coming. All the schools in the Netherlands use the term ICT. Well, I guess it's still a valid term. Give me flashbacks to my school. When I was at school and we had ICT, it was literally a room with a load of PET computers, old ass IBMs, like really old ass IBMs, BBC Model Bs, and all you learn was really not much. How to format some text if you were doing a letter, maybe, because there was no real, this was like the late 1980s. What was there to learn other than maybe how to write a letter on some bog standard crappy word processing software that was IBM PC compatible, or you did on the BBC Model B? Yeah, there wasn't a lot. It was still 8-bit computers in them days. Paul Di Tommaso says, hello Zeppedy, where are you from? Where in Canada are you? I'm in Hamilton, Ontario. Yeah, as an older, wiser person now, I would say you should go and do further education. You should go and study more. You should make the most of all the education opportunities given to you. I think now it's crazy not to, and I wish I hadn't avoided it. It may not, be the thing that gets you the job that then you have for the rest of your life, but it might be. And I think more than anything else as well, it's the experience. I think the thing I regret is not having that experience of, moving out and living in student digs and going to university and making friends and friendships that way. It's that life as well, I think, like 3 or 4 years of being independent. I think I regret not doing that. I just went straight for the job. I just wanted the money. I'm like, you know what? I'll just go and get a job, then I can buy all the things I want, and I don't have to go and study for 4 years. Pascal says, yes, I got the same lessons on those old PCs with the big monitors. It was like 11 years ago. Really? I'm talking like 1988 when I did mine. They're still... Wow. See, when I did any kind of computers at school, it was 8-bit. We were still 8-bit. Horribly 8-bit. So that's going back a long way. So it's amazing they still have that stuff there when... in that case, because 11 years ago was only like 1999, only 10 years after I was doing it. There we go, we're coming up on the planet now, but she's just on the other side, so I'm going to skirt round just until she's not right on the other side. Come on, pop up. Pop up. The dotted line means it's just obscured by the horizon. Okay, so now we can go and go for a landing. We're going to be needing the nighting vision as well. 0.06G, which is fine. I can do that. We'll put on the special night vision so I can see when I get down there. When you are coming into land, you want an angle of attack really between 25 and 30 degrees. If you go much steeper than that, you'll end up undershooting your target. I'm going a little less steep here because I'm 50 kilometers up, but I'm 150 kilometers out, and if I get to the surface too quick, I'll have a nightmare because I've got to have to travel like 100 kilometers on just thrusters, and it'll take forever. So I don't mind gliding for a bit longer than normal. So I'm just going to glide at a reasonable... Yeah, it didn't work. Okay, so now I'm 102 kilometers from there. I wish I did. Thrust off the way. That's going to take a while, isn't it? I may have botched this a little bit. That didn't quite go according to plan. Everything I just said, ignore it. Yeah, let's not do this. Let's come back up. Let's get back out and come back again. Because that ain't going to work. Because basically you go in Super Cruise, you drop out into glide, and then you drop out of glide into normal thrust, vectored thrust control, and it'll take you forever to travel like 100 kilometers. So I'll go back into Super Cruise. We'll do a bit of a turnaround and we'll attack it. I was too far away and too shallow, and it dropped me out of Super Cruise too quick. Okay, so we'll see where this is. We'll come round. Also, I've used floppies and stuff like that, says Pascal. Wow. I mean, they were still around in the 1999 sort of. Says, yes, when I left that school, they just upgraded, so I got all that nostalgic feeling when I'm not that old. Yeah. Right, so we try that again. Right, so it's kind of right below me now, which is not ideal, because then I'm approaching it from 90 degrees, so I need to, let's try that again, go around. I don't want to basically be pointing straight down when I try and land, because the risk there is that if you are at too sharp an angle, you take heat damage. And I know I'm about to land at a space station where they can probably repair anyway, but I don't want to be like coming in that quick. So what we'll do is we'll just trim it a bit better this time. It can be tricky sometimes landing. It's not always easy. You can't go in too shallow, but you can't go in too steep, and it's known when you've got a good balance. So it's about 120 kilometers up and about 160 kilometers down. That's fine. We'll drop to about 45 degrees. A bit steeper than normal, but we'll live with it. As long as I don't hit the red. 65 kilometers out, so I'm in glide now. No control. This is literally purely glide. No control flight whatsoever. No thrust. Now you can be steep in glide because it pulls you out of glide before you get about between 5 and 10 kilometers out. So there you go. So now I'm 5 kilometers out. I shall request the clearance. Landing pad 6.
Commencing automated flight control routine. Please observe docking protocols. Access granted. Proceed to landing pad 06.
Where the hell's landing pad 06? I remember this last time. First time I played this, I couldn't find the landing pad for ages. Where the hell is landing pad? Oh, it's blue. Ah, that's 7. Where's 6? Oh, it's there. Is that it? Oh, it's sideways on. I was looking for orange, and of course it's blue, isn't it? I don't know. I do like the fact she's not got a person. That's number 4. Where's number 6? Is it over there? Wow. I suck. Yeah, I like the fact she's got an automated like air traffic control rather than a person. It's like a robot voice. I better be 6 down there because I'm kind of in the middle of nowhere now. 6. Yes, there we go. I remember this last time I played this a couple of years ago. It's like it was a pain then to try and find it. You get so used to looking at for the orange holograms for landing that you forget sometimes they're blue. There we go. Your compass points to the pad, Fox, says Phil. I know, but I'd sometimes have trouble even deciphering that. There we go. There we go. We are at Farseer Inc. here to meet Felicity Farseer so she can do some engineering goodness. Yeah, so we can do our engineering goodness, which we shall do next time. I'm quite pleased that in the last episode we got to Maya, and now in this episode we've got here. We're not just in the middle of space, so that's awesome. Let's have a quick look through chat again. Swig of tea. Let's have a look. When I took Fortran as a programming class as Candygram, in college it was the first semester in which punch cards were not used for program storage. Wow. You're older than everybody. Pascal says, maybe I should learn the programming language Pascal. Just put it on my resume. Just to put it on my resume. I like that. I think you should. Change your surname to Fortran. Pascal C. Fortran. Oh, about 10 people get that. Oh, brilliant. Candygram says, yes, you should. Lol, Pascal. Yes, I took Pascal. Ah, lovely. Zeppedy 101 is in Winnipeg, Manitoba, smack dab in the middle. When I was at school, IT was a game, says Mark 3Bs. Cool. Right. Let's have a quick look at the Starport services. What have we got? I'll do the refueling and stuff, get that done now. She looks a bit haggard, does Felicity Farsi. She's seen some things, she has. I tell you, she's seen things you people wouldn't believe. Ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion, yeah, and so on and so on. Yes. So the thing she's got here is the engineer's workshop, which other places don't have. So we'll come back to that next week. So you can imagine, you can see a bit of menu action next week, hot menu action. Yeah. But I think that's going to do us. We've only gone 10 minutes over, but that's going to do us for this week. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, as always, if you'd like to support this channel, don't forget to like, subscribe, like all my videos every time you watch one. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss anything, and hit the notification bell and hover over it and make sure you select all on the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And do make sure to like it, because if you like a video from whatever channel you're watching, if you hit like, it helps that video in the listings. It gets noticed in searches, and it really helps the video content creators. So make sure whenever you watch something you've enjoyed and you like that channel, always hit like, just to really help that channel out. Don't forget, of course, you can use my Amazon store. You can support me through that way. You can support me through Goblin Gaming if you need to buy tabletop gaming models or tools or cards or anything like that. And of course, you can support me on Patreon, patreon.com/modelmakingguru. The address is on the bottom of the video there. You can see it. And also they're all in the description below the video. Do have a think about supporting this channel. I do this for a living, and your support means I can keep doing not just this, but the model making stuff as well. I will, of course, be back tomorrow for Warhammer Sundays, when we're starting on, I think, some Space Marine Scouts, I think we're doing. Got to make some Space Marine Scouts. Back on Monday as well for the E-Model show, and then more stuff to come. I've got to do the X-Wing, next few magazines of X-Wing, so they'll be up in the next few days. But thank you very much to everyone who's been watching. We shall carry on next week when we get Felicity to work some magic on my frameshift drive. Probably. I think. Should probably say I can do it, but I need 15 more things that you have to go out and find, and I'll be like, oh yeah, bugger. Never mind. Anyway, let's crack on. So yes, thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. I shall press some buttons, so don't forget, as always, go make something awesome. Go be awesome, although you already are, because you're watching this, so you're clearly awesome. And until next time, I shall say, adios amoebas, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.